It's evening. There are scented candles around the house, the table is set for a romantic date, but... Forgive me, Kushina, but we must part ways, said a young blonde man who looked to be about 25 years old, but he was 19, like his girlfriend, who looked younger, although she was the same age as Minato and had long red hair, which only members of her clan, the Uzumaki clan, had. The girl couldn't believe it and thought it was just a stupid joke, but she decided to stay calm, because she couldn't be nervous after she found out the test results. Pav. Kushina's memories. Beginning. So, Kushina said to herself, waking up and getting out of bed, I need to quickly go to the hospital for the test results, although everything is clear here, and this evening I'll tell Minato everything, he'll be simply glad and happy, I'm simply sure of it. How wrong she was and couldn't even imagine that she would be abandoned today, and that she would never tell Minato that he would become a father. As she approached the hospital, she looked at the rock on which all 4 Hokage were depicted. Her gaze stopped on the 4th, smiling, she walked into the middle and immediately went to the women's consultation. She approached the door, knocked and entered, sat down on a chair, and the nurse began to look for her medical record. Having found it, she said, well, congratulations, Kushina-sama, you're pregnant. It was the most beautiful thing Kushina had ever heard, because she was told that she would soon become a mother. I need to tell Minato everything, Kushina thought, he will definitely be happy to know that he will become a father, because he always talked about how he dreams of having a big family. That's it, it's decided, today I will tell him everything. Smiling again, she went home to cook a romantic dinner and share the wonderful news. True, Kushina didn't know then that she would never be able to tell him about the child, because Minato also had news for her and it wasn't as pleasant. And that after that she would also love him, but they wouldn't see each other for 16 years. Pav. Kushina's memories. The end. Minato, if this is a joke, it's a bad one. Kushina said, remaining calm. Minato just remained silent, watching Kushina who was completely calm. She got tired of it and said again. You know, Minato, if you decided so, then I will simply return to the Whirlpool village, and no one will be able to force me to stay here. After all, it is unlikely that your village and the elders with Danzo will be able to withstand the RINNEGANU of more than 2,000 people in the Kyuubi, and if the ANBU from the root attack me, then I do not envy your village. Mito Uzumaki was the first Jinchuriki and I am the second, so the Leaf Village has nothing to do with the Nine Tails, since the Whirlpool Village agreed to Hashirama's wedding with Mito in exchange for the return of the fox. After all, the fox was in the Uzumaki clan before Uchiha Madara subdued it. I was made a Jinchuriki and sent to this village to become the Hokage's wife according to the contract, but since you abandoned me, you broke the contract, so goodbye, 4th Hokage, I'm going home and will become the head of the Whirlpool Village. Oh yeah, your village will definitely not get Rinnegan now, because it is now an internal secret of the Uzumaki clan and we will not tell our secrets to anyone, and I could give birth to a child for you and more than one, just like that. Kushina said calmly and simply left. Minato just watched her go, and he definitely couldn't do anything, because she was the heiress and the only thing he could hope for was that the Whirlpool village wouldn't break off relations with the Leaf village. Kushina entered the house and began to gather her things. Telling her people that they were going home immediately, she placed her hand on her still flat belly, which would soon begin to grow. Approaching the gate and looking at the Hokage mountain one last time, they set off. Are you sure about this, Kushina? A rough voice asked. Yes, Kurama, I'm sure, Kushina answered calmly. But he is the father. The same rough voice said calmly. No, it's only my child, even though Minato is his father, but after he abandoned us, he no longer has the right to call himself the father of my child, although he will not know about it. I will make sure that he does not find out anything for as long as possible. Kushina insisted. She did not want to argue now, especially with Kurama. Okay, if that's what you decided, then I'm now responsible for the 3 of you. Kurama said with a slight chuckle, waiting for Kushina's reaction. I don't get it, Kushina said in surprise and almost hit her forehead against a tree branch, which caused Kurama to simply laugh like a horse throughout her entire subconscious. Ha ha ha, well, Kushina, you're just super. Laughing, the fox rolled over on his back, twitching his paws and tails. This continued until Kurama saw Kushina's hair stand up in 9 tufts, after which the fox stopped laughing and replied. Well, didn't you realize that you're going to have twins and I think it's going to be a boy and a girl? The fox said, trying to speak as softly as possible. Well, if that's the case, then Kushina decided that she definitely won't tell Minato anything. After packing up, Kushina and her entourage left the village hidden in the leaves, and the last thing she thought was that she would never return here, not even knowing what a cruel test fate had in store for her, but in the end, happiness still awaits her. 2. The Land of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves. The root ANBU. Base. Underground, in the darkness, sat several people, the elders of the Leaf Village, Mitokado Homura, Udatane Kaharu, the head of the root ANBU, Shimura Danzo, as well as the former shinobi of the Leaf, the Snake Sanin renegade Orochimaru. Well, looks like everything is going according to plan. The bandaged old man said with a grin. Yes, Minato abandoned Kushina and she will return to the Whirlpool village as expected. The old woman said. Minato doesn't even know that he abandoned his child, another old man said. The main thing is that he doesn't find out about this for as long as possible, the Snake Sanin hissed. Don't worry, no one will know about this until the baby is born, although it will be too late then, but now the main thing is to prepare to take Kyuubi, because the nine-tailed demon fox belongs to me. Of course, I understand that I will have to sacrifice many of my fighters, but this sacrifice will not be in vain. It's just a pity that we will not be able to destroy the hidden whirlpool, their power is too great, but Kushina will die along with this scum. Said the bandaged old man. Wouldn't it be better to capture Kushina now and use the child later? I think he would make an excellent pawn, the Snake Sanin hissed. Are you completely brainless after the experiments? The bandaged old man said angrily. What? The snake didn't understand. That, idiot, if we capture Kushina now, even under the guise of another village, then Minato will find out about it, and I will be the first one he will think of, and even my status will not save me, and Koharu and Hamura, although they are elders, will still be considered my accomplices. If he reports everything to the feudal lord, then, after all, Hiruzen, Hiyashi with Hazashi, Fugaku, Shikaku, Inoichi, Chusa and Shibi heard me threaten that if Minato does not abandon Kushina, then I will take drastic measures, then their confirmation will be enough, the main schemer said angrily. And also adding that while they are waiting for the birth, they must prepare perfectly. 3. Fire Country. Village hidden in the leaves. At the gates of the Leaf Village. Minato, standing on one of the houses and watching as the love of his life approached the gates of the village, saying something to the guards, did not even look back, but went forward, knowing that she was no longer a shinobi of the Leaf and that she would not return here. And only the accompanying people, looking back and noticing Minato, somehow they looked at him with hostility and went forward. Are you sure, Minato, that you did the right thing? After all, you love her very much? Asked a man of about 45 to 50 years old, in a robe and a Hokage hat, with a smoking pipe, since he was the third Hokage. I don't know Hiruzen-sama, because these elders and Danzo can harm her. They know for sure that even if they commit a crime, nothing will happen to them for it. They have too much influence on the clans, and if they attacked Kushina, then the Leaf Village would have no chance against the Whirlpool Village. Therefore, she will be better off there. I think you're right, Minato. But don't worry, sooner or later they'll answer for everything. Said the third Hokage. Yes, perhaps I have lost here, but when necessary I will tell them where their place is and that they are only elders, and few remember elders, but everyone remembers Cage. And if they dare to threaten me, then I will. Be that as it may, it wasn't them who made me the fourth Hokage, but you along with the feudal lord and the Jonin Council, and it doesn't matter whether they were for or against it. The young leader said. You're right, Minato, but you're still too young and have no influence on others, although you have a good reputation among other clans, but the elders of other clans can't fully support you yet, but they already trust you and that's the main thing. But they also don't trust Danzo, Kohoro and Homura and that's the main thing. That's true. The most important thing for me now is that everything is okay with Kushina and that she gets home safely. And I can't even imagine when I'll see her again, or if I'll see her at all. Everything will be fine, Minato, I'm sure. And as for the fact that they obliged you to marry my daughter, don't worry, it will just be a fictitious marriage for 2 to 3 years, and then you will get divorced, and I will tell Kushina everything myself and you will be happy. Said the previous Hokage and went on to walk around the village. He realized that he was being watched by the ANBU and that it was definitely not his subordinates, but the fighter root ANBU, who was subordinate to Shimura Danzo. He decided to give the command to his ANBU to capture him. Minato himself continued to look towards the gate, not even knowing that he would not see his beloved Kushina for a very long time. To be continued. Chapter 01. Commentary on CHAPTER 01 Bekino. I welcome criticism. Point out mistakes. Throw in ideas on how to improve my story. The fourth Uzukage, village of the hidden whirlpool, Uzumaki Naruto. IV. The land of whirlpool. 16 years later. Somewhere in the hidden whirlpool village. A young, red-haired, blue-eyed guy with unruly hair and strange stripes on his cheeks, 3 on each skin cheek, which made him look like a fox. He was 15 years old, although he looked 17 to 20. It was not immediately obvious that his eyes suddenly began to change, and in them a red pupil was visible, similar to the eye of an animal, from which 3 circles extended, like ripples on water, and in each circle there were 3 volumes. No one would even guess that he was a blonde and dyed his hair for one reason. Now he was sitting near the grave and looking at the monument, which had the inscription Uzumaki Naruto and the only date, October 10th. He was sitting and crying. This was the only place where he could give vent to his feelings. Especially today, because today he would be announced as the new head of the Whirlpool village. At 15, he had long been a jonin, which he became at 11, and before that he was in the UNBU. POV. Naruto's Memories. The beginning, from the author. The word beginning is not a mistake, I like the way the title from the movie Batman Begins sounds. Naruto. Son, I need to tell you something, said a woman, about 27 years old with beautiful long red hair, which he simply adored, approaching a boy of about 6 to 7 years old, with blonde hair and strange stripes in the form of whiskers on his cheeks, which made him look like a fox. Yes, Mom, what about? The little son asked her. You have already become a genin and I decided to tell you about your father. Kushina said a little nervously. As soon as Naruto heard what they were going to talk about, he immediately started getting angry, because the only thing he knew about his father was that he abandoned her. If his father had been around, his twin sister would have been alive. But he wants to know the name of the person he hated and considered guilty of the death of his sister, who was 4 minutes younger than him. Naruto, little fox, I have to tell you that your father is. It was then that he learned that he was the son of Namikaze Minato of the Leaf Village, where he was the 4th Hokage, and that he looked like his father. It was then that he decided that he would dye his hair red, as is customary in the Uzumaki clan, so as not to stand out and not to disgrace his clan and village. He decided that if he ever met his father, he would simply punch him in the eye, and it didn't matter that his father was the Hokage. After all, he himself was the heir to the Uzumaki clan and the entire country. Whirlpool, so he himself will bear the title of Kage. POV. Naruto's Memories. The End. V. The Land of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves. The catacombs of the secret unit Route ANBU. Somewhere underground, several people had gathered, namely, the head of the secret unit Route ANBU Shimura Danzo, next to him were his guards Yamanaki Fu, Aburame Shikuri and Torun, the elders of the Leaf Village Mitokado Homura and Utaden Kaharu. Then Orochimaru with his guards of the Second Sound 5, these are Kagaya Kimimaro, Kitamaro, Tayuya, Jirobo, and the Siamese twins Sakin and Ukin, who will only separate during the fight. They were not the only ones who were getting tired, because in the shadows there were several more people, their faces were hidden, but it was clear that they were from other villages. So, said the man, whose entire right side was wrapped in bandages, hiding half of his face and arm, I immediately decided to tell you why we've gathered. V. The Land of the Whirlpool. In the main square of the hidden Whirlpool village. Where is that dyed bastard? Screamed a woman of about 35 years old with long blood red hair, which had managed to stand up and split into 9 ponytails and frighten everyone who was within the radius of the bloody habanero's attack. I have no idea, the red-haired guy of about 25 answered, stuttering a little. Nagato-sensei, Kushina-sama, he decided to go visit his sister first, said a girl of about 15 to 16 years old, also with long blood red hair. I see. Nagato, go get him. Kushina said calmly, and then added with a sadistic smile. Tell him that if he doesn't come in 5 minutes, he'll hold the ceremony in the intensive care unit. Continuing to smile in such a way that everyone nearby began to mentally sympathize with their new leader, and Nagato could only say yes. You saw it, Karen-chan, how I scared him, ha 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 ha, that's how you should behave with men, and with Naruto especially you can't do without a blow to the forehead. It's only with enemies that he is merciless, but at home he is too cheerful. Namikaze Minato's beloved said somehow cheerfully. I see. By the way, Nagato runs so fast and it seems he completely forgot about the pain in his leg after training. Now it is clear how Naruto will need to be treated. Naruto's beloved also said cheerfully, but with a sly smile. That's right, Karen, but the main thing with this matter is not to overdo it. Kushina said still cheerfully. 7. The Land of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves. The home of the fourth Hokage. In the kitchen, at the table, sat a blond man of about 30 to 35 years old. He had been very thoughtful for several days and had not been sleeping well, after the news that when he left Kushina, she was expecting a child. His child. And the fact that Danzo and Homura and Kahara knew about it, but dared to hide it. But the information will still need to be verified, but if all this is true, then I do not envy them. It is also worth checking the information about what actually happened in the Whirlpool Village 15 years ago. Is it true then that the rumor that the Whirlpool Village was attacked and they tried to subjugate the nine-tailed fox was true, but they kept silent about it? The most interesting thing is that it was exactly 15 years ago, as Fugaku reported, that those Uchihas who served in Route ANBU disappeared, because they were by no means weaklings. Could this all be Danzo's doing? In order to capture the Kyuubi, he forced me to abandon Kushina, since he already knew then that Kushina was expecting a child and that she would return home without telling anyone about the child. After all, the seal with Biju weakens during childbirth and there will be no better chance to attack. But why were they silent? After all, the Jonin of the Leaf were constantly going to the Whirlpool Village and did not report any destruction. This can only mean that the fox did not have time to kill anyone or that the demon fox is connected to the secret that Kushina told me about. She said then that the Uzumaki clan has a guardian. But that's right, she said that this secret is connected with Uzumaki Mito and Senju Hashirama. But is it possible that the nine-tailed demon fox is actually a guardian, not a destroyer? And when it attacked, it was under control. After all, before Madara used it, it did not attack people, but on the contrary, people attacked it in order to capture it and use it as a weapon. Minato was so lost in thought and lost in his thoughts that he did not even notice how his children, daughter Yumi and son Kara, were trying to call him, snapping their fingers in front of his nose for 5 minutes. And when they finally managed to bring him out of his thoughts, he did not even immediately understand where he was and how much time he thought about Kushina. But for some reason he immediately understood that he was about to be an hour and a half late to the residence. Having apologized to the younger ones, he slowly walked to the exit, and for some reason ended up in the storage room, where he hung over some box and caught a side shelf with a toolbox, crashed to the floor, after which the box, falling right on his head, hit him hard. Then it became clear that the fourth Hokage would not be able to work today. The children, seeing this, immediately took him to the hall to the bed, and Yumi ran for the doctor. 8. Our Days. The Land of the Whirlpool. The Village Hidden in the Whirlpool. Part 1. Naruto-sama, everything is ready for the ceremony, said a young guy about 20 years old, although he was 25. He just looks younger, with long red hair. In his eyes there was an activated Rinnegan point from which circles extended. It was purple, but then his eyes became a normal brown color. Okay, I'm going, Nagato-sensei. As Kurama said, if Karen comes, the ceremony will have to be postponed, due to the fact that the hero of the occasion will be in intensive care with a concussion. That's true, Nagato said with a laugh. At this time, all the residents gathered in the main square of the village, waiting for the genius of the Uzumaki clan, and the two representatives of the fair half began to get angry and no one dared to say anything, so as not to get into hot water. It was Uzumaki Karen, an adopted daughter whose parents died protecting Kushina 15 years ago, during an attack on her during childbirth when Karen was 3 months old, after which Kushina immediately took her in to raise her. At that time, Kushina gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, but unfortunately, the girl was killed brutally and in cold blood, and the boy only survived thanks to the help of the nine-tailed demon fox, which the enemy extracted from the Jinchuriki and sent to the Whirlpool village. However, the enemy did not take into account one detail, namely that the fox was the guardian of the Uzumaki clan even before Uchiha Madara caught him. Kushina herself was standing nearby, who was about to send the young leader straight to sick leave. And as soon as Naruto arrived, Kushina immediately remembered that he was a ray of light for which she was ready to do anything. Karen looked at him and licked her lips. He did not like her insidious smile. From her smile, he understood that he was doomed and would definitely be late for work in his new position, and this was in the best case, of course, if she let him go after a stormy night of congratulating him on his promotion. Although he would definitely not mind. Please have a moment's attention. We are about to begin the ceremony, the village elder said in a rough voice. To be continued. Chapter 02. Commentary on Chapter 02 Pekino. This chapter is just an addition. If this chapter is unnecessary and spoils the plot, I will delete it. Leave feedback and point out mistakes. Intermediate chapter, World reaction to the election of a new head of the village hidden in the Whirlpool. Ix. 2 weeks before the appointment of the fourth Uzukage. The land of Whirlpool. The village hidden in the maelstrom. Kushina sat at the table in the office with Naruto, Nagato and Karen. They were deciding how exactly to inform the world about the new leader. They didn't care what the other countries would say, they would just present everyone with the fact. They especially wanted to see how Shimura Danzo would react. They really wanted to see his face when he found out that the one he tried to kill right after his birth became the leader of the Whirlpool village and could issue a decree to stop cooperation with the Leaf. This means that Leaf's sea route through the Whirlpool land archipelago will be blocked, and therefore, more financial expenses. Although Naruto doesn't care about this. He would like to never have anything to do with the land of fire and the Leaf village in particular, but for the sake of the villagers who sell their goods to the land of fire, he will tolerate it. He will act cunningly and appoint Nagato to conduct all negotiations with the land of fire. But that will be after the appointment, and now. So the letters are written and sent. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Geyser country. The village hidden in the geysers, hot springs. Daimyo-sama, we have an urgent message from the Whirlpool country. His advisor said. So what's going on? Asked an elderly man in a white and blue kimono. This is a letter from the village of the Whirlpool. The messenger answered and handed it over. Well. To the esteemed daimyo of the land of geysers. We inform you that in 2 weeks there will be a ceremony where the fourth Uzukage will be chosen. We will be waiting for you at the ceremony. Sincerely, daimyo of the Whirlpool country and second Uzukage Uzumaki Ashina, and head of the Uzumaki clan and third Uzukage Uzumaki Kushina. 11. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Snow country. Village, hidden in the snow. Madam, urgent message from the country of the maelstrom. The guard reported, flying into the office. Yes. Do they need something? Asked Yuki. Not exactly. It's just that the village of the Whirlpool will soon have a new leader, the advisor replied. Did something happen to Kushina-sama? The princess asked worriedly. No, she just decided that her son was ready to lead the village, and they sent you an invitation. The advisor answered. I'll be happy to go, I really want to see Naruto, Karen and Nagato and Kushina-sama. The young princess said happily and asked to start preparing for the journey. 12. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. The land of fire. Village, hidden in the leaves. Hokage-sama, it's urgent. You've received a message from the Whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give it here. Minato said excitedly and took the letter. Reading the letter where it says that Uzumaki Kushina's son was chosen as the fourth Uzukage. And realizing that they just needed to present us with a fait accompli, but how is it that Kushina has a son? How is he the new leader? Could it be that she then? Or is she? 13. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Demon country. Temple. Shion-sama, there's a letter for you from the Whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give him here. Said a young girl of about 15 years old, but she looked older. Well, that's all clear, get ready for the trip to the country Whirlpool. Yes, the advisor answered. Well, finally I'll see Naruto again and now he can't get away with it, haha. The priestess thought smiling, she was having a lot of fun and she remembered her first meeting with Naruto. From the author. I'll explain everything later. 14. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Grass country. Village, hidden in the grass. Sir, we have received a letter from the country of the Whirlpool. The guard reported. Well, give him here. The head of the village said angrily. He was very angry because problems with robbers, of which there are quite a lot. Well, that's all clear, unfortunately, I won't be able to go. 15. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Bear country. Village, hidden in the star. Hoshikage-sama, we have received a message from the Whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, then give him here, Sumeru said somehow tiredly. Who recently began to unofficially perform the duties of the fourth Hoshikage, he is also 15 years old, like Naruto. From the author. I hope you understand who I mean. Well, that's all clear, get ready for the trip to the country Whirlpool. 16. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. The land of birds. Ms. Toki, you have received a message from the Whirlpool country. Well, give it to me, said a girl of about 17 years old. I think I should accept the invitation. Prepare everything for the trip to the land of the Whirlpool. Thoughts? Well, here's a chance to spend time with Kushina, because she's always busy and has no time for a personal life. In high spirits, she went to tell her beloved everything. 17. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Waterfall country. Village, hidden in the waterfall. Shibuki-sama, you have received a message from the whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give him here. Shibuki, who recently became the head of the village after the death of his father, and this at the age of 16, said somewhat tiredly. So, well, that's all clear, get ready for the trip to the country whirlpool. 18. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. The country of Nana. Princess Haruna, you have a letter from the country of the whirlpool. The guard reported. Well, give him here. A young princess of 18 to 20 years old said wearily, she was almost killed after her father was killed and after her country was captured by 3 bandits, she was saved by Naruto. She was announced as the heir, she was 16 years old then. Well, that's all clear, get ready for the trip to the country whirlpool. She really wanted to see Karen again, with whom they became friends and often corresponded. 19. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. The land of lightning. Village, hidden in the clouds. Reikage-sama, you have received a message from the whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give it here. And as soon as he read the letter, he began to smash his office. He was furious that some minor had been put in charge of the entire village. XX. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. The land of water. Village, hidden in the mist. Yagura-sama, a letter has arrived from the whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give it here. Yagura said without emotion and simply reading the letter, said to write congratulations in response, and write that I will definitely be there. The assistant nodded and went to write a reply to the message. 21. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Rain country. Village, hidden in the rain. Hanzo-sama has a letter for you from the land of the whirlpool. The guard said. Well, give him here. A middle-aged man with long blonde hair and a strange mask with a breathing tube said wearily. Well, that's all clear, well, let's see what kind of a boss he is, at least good fighter. It's a pity I can't go to the meeting because of training. 22. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Country of Earth. Village, hidden in the stones. Tsuchikage-sama has received a letter from the land of the whirlpool. The guard reported. Well, where is it? As always, the old man said discontentedly and jumped up abruptly from his place, but as a result of the abrupt movements, the pain in his back increased and he cried out sharply. Afterwards, he snatched the letter and tore it up, without reading it. 23. 2 weeks before the events in the maelstrom. Country of Wind. Village, hidden in the sand. Kazekage-sama has a message for you from the whirlpool country. The guard reported. Well, give it here. Rasa said without emotion, and simply reading the letter, said to write congratulations in response. To which the assistant, having answered so precisely, left. To be continued. Chapter 03. Commentary on Chapter 03, Bekino. I'll explain later how Yumi and Hinata were kidnapped. Leave your feedback. Danzo's plan is executed. Hyuga Hinata and Namikaze Yumi are kidnapped. 24. The Land of the Whirlpool. The Village Hidden in the Whirlpool. Part 2. Please pay attention, we are about to begin the ceremony, said the village elder in a rough voice. The third Uzukage Uzumaki Kushina came forward. Ashina stood next to her. He is the feudal lord of the Whirlpool country and is the head of the entire Uzumaki clan, and before that he was the second Uzukage. So, a decision was made. Considering that Ashina-sama is not young and it has become difficult for him to combine the position of the head of the clan and also govern the country, so he proposed that Kushina-sama will become the head of the Uzumaki clan, Naruto-sama will become the head of the Whirlpool village, as the fourth Uzukage, and Ashina-sama will remain the head of the Whirlpool country. Ashina-sama said that when Naruto-sama turns 21, he will receive full authority to govern the entire country. As the fourth Uzukage, he will also have to lead the Uzumaki clan and become the head of the entire Whirlpool country as a feudal lord. 25. The Land of Fire. The Village Hidden in the Leaves. The Barbecue Bar. Gathered at the table are the graduates of the Shinobi Academy of the Leaf, from the author. The ninja graduated at 15 years old. Namikaze Yumi and Kiera, from the author. They are 14 years old, but they graduated early. Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Uchiha Sasuke and Miko, Haruno Sakura, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji, as well as Hyuga Neji, Tenten, Rock Lee, from the author. The three of them are 16 years old. They are discussing the news that in the Whirlpool village, a guy became the head of the village at 15 years old, and before that he was the captain of the UNBU in the Oinen squad. It seems that this Naruto is very strong if he was in UNBU. Said the lazy guy from the Nara clan. You can't even imagine how strong he is, because his clan owns the strongest dojutsu Rinnengan, which was once owned by the sage of the six paths, and his eyes are the strongest in his clan, said Itachi's younger brother. Are his eyes really stronger than the Sharingan and Byakugan? The representative of the dog handler clan asked. Rinnegan gives the ability to use all 5 elements, and Naruto's eyes are special, because he can combine elements and create new ones. Some clans have an improved Kekkei Genkei genome, for example Senju Hashirama could combine water and earth, creating a tree. Neji said. Well, then how can he do it? Sakura asked. It's a feature of his eyes, and he's the only one in the clan with improved Rinnengan, Neji explained calmly. Who are his parents? Ino, the heiress of the Yamanaka clan, asked, and Hinata also became curious. Yumi and Kiera didn't expect such a question, because they couldn't talk about that rumor, so Yumi exchanged glances with Kara and decided to tell something. I know that his mother Uzumaki Kushina awakened her eyes at the age of 9, she is the third Uzukage, and I don't know anything about his father. His teacher Uzumaki Nagato awakened his eyes at the age of 9. Rumor has it that Naruto awakened his eyes at the age of 6 and was prepared from birth to lead his village, said the daughter of the 4th Hokage. Well, then it's clear. I met him once when I was in the Whirlpool village with my uncle. He had just come back from a mission and was covered in blood. As it turned out, it was an operation to destroy a den of thugs, and he was 12 to 13 years old then, and despite all this, he did not express any emotions. Said the representative of the Hyuga clan. A shinobi must hide every emotion. We were all taught at the academy. Said the heir of the Aburame clan. From the author. Nightmare, I can't really describe Shino's speech. Forgive me if something is wrong. Then they discussed other topics, but also decided to learn more about Naruto first and discuss him again. From the author. To wash his bones, haha. Does that seem right? 26. Land of Lightning, Cloud Village, residents of the Raikage. The Cloud Jonin Assembly discussed the plan to capture the Byakugan and completely destroy the Leaf Village, but also the possibility of capturing the Sharingan. How prepared is everything before the capture operation? The 4th Raikage asked his brother. To which he replied. Everything is going according to plan, yo. The first phase operation will be carried out in 4 stages. The first stage is to capture Hyuga Hinata and Namikaze Yumi when our ambassador arrives in Leaf. The second stage is to enter the territory of the Land of Lightning together with Danzo's people. The third stage is the transfer of 2 objects to the third team, on our territory. Well, the fourth stage is the destruction of Danzo's people by the first and second teams. The younger brother of the Raikage made a report, not forgetting to add at the end. Yo. If possible, could you please provide more details on who will be on the teams? The head of Cloud Village asked. No problem, yo. Darui and I made up 3 teams. The first team that will operate in the Land of Fire will be led by Yugito ni, yo. My second team and Darui's team will be waiting in the Land of Lightning territory with the third team, yo. As soon as they enter our territory, Darui's team will take the objects, and my team and Yugito's team will stay behind to finish off Danzo's people, but in such a way that they won't understand anything. So there's nothing to worry about, you simpleton, everything will go fine, yo. Killer B finished his report. B. What the? You, again. This is no place for your rap, you idiot. And who are you calling a fool? I shouted angrily at his brother and slammed him into the floor. And at the same time he announced that the team lineups were selected just so that the meeting would continue when Yugito and her team entered our territory. 27. The Land of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves. The Hokage's office, 2 days after the events in the Whirlpool village. There was a tense atmosphere in the 4th Hokage's office. After all, the elders were simply annoying. However, after Minato complained about the elders and Danzo to the feudal lord, they no longer interfered with the young Hokage. Even the 3rd Hokage was happy about this. Minato made it clear that he had the final say and that no elders could dictate to him. Everything was decided by the Jonin Council. The elders were furious that all clans had the power to influence decisions. Minato knew that they wouldn't attack because they knew they would die, because the only ones who were against Minato were the Shimura, Mitokado, Uditane, and Rude Nbu clans, and so all the advantage was in Minato. Minato was currently having trouble organizing the Chunin exams, which would involve his children, twins from his marriage to Sarutobi Hiruzen's daughter, who died after giving birth. He still loved Kushina, his Kushina, whom he hadn't seen for over 15 years. Kushina always sent ambassadors to all meetings in her place, and because of this, every time he had a chance to see her, he simply could not take it. But now he heard something that shocked him, namely, that the Whirlpool village will have a new leader, possibly Uzumaki Kushina's son, who is 15 years old. It seems he is very strong and became the 4th Uzukage once every 15 years. It's even interesting, I am the 4th Hokage of the Leaf Village, and perhaps my son is the 4th Uzukage. Damn. What should I do? I'm 100% sure that Naruto is my son. This made him uneasy, because it could be his son, but then why didn't she tell him? The only place he could get an answer was the hospital archive. Having found the necessary documents, he simply moved to his home. He opened the folder, he began to read, where it was said that Kushina was pregnant at the time when he left her. The period was 10 weeks, the date of examination was the day when he left her, which means that on that day she herself found out and wanted to tell. He decided that he needed to urgently go to her and ask for forgiveness, he really wanted to see his son. After all, now we can talk as equals, but first of all I need to talk to Yumi and Kara. I hope they will understand and support me and they will also be not indifferent to their brother, but that will be later. Since I first need to sort out the preparations for the Chunin exam, and this evening I will talk to them, Minato thought, getting down to work. 28. The Land of Whirlpool, residence of the 4th Uzukage of the Whirlpool village. Kushina entered the 4th Uzukage's office and said, Uzukage-sama, you must leave for the Land of Geysers tomorrow. You will be accompanied by Nagato and Karen, and the UNBU team. I will remain in the village. I see, said the young leader and continued to sort through the documents. Annoyed that he didn't have time to do anything, he understood why his mother had pushed the duties of the head of the village onto him at such an age. Although it was clear that managing the entire hidden village was very difficult, and he had been prepared for this since birth. And everyone understood that he loved his mother very much and would not allow her to strain herself, and if he needed help or advice, then his mother would definitely help him if he failed at something. For the sake of his family, and this was his entire village, the village of Whirlpool and, of course, the entire Whirlpool country. For the sake of his family, he was ready to destroy the entire world. 29. The Land of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves. The home of the 4th Hokage. The door opened and Minato walked into the house saying, I'm home, is anyone home? After that, a young blonde man dressed only in black pants came into the hallway. His bare torso and wet hair made it clear that he had just taken a shower. Minato, seeing this, smiled and asked, Is your sister home? To which he replied that she was not there and that he had not seen her at all today after they came back from the mission. Before Minato could say anything, there was a knock on the door and he went to open it and saw his UNB on the threshold, who immediately knelt down and said, Hokage-sama, your daughter and Hyuga Hinata have been kidnapped. We have sent 2 UNB squads along with the Hyugas after them, but that is not enough. Minato and Kiera were shocked and immediately ran to the residence, knocking down passers-by along the way, and not forgetting to apologize, to which people looked at him with great surprise. After all, it is not often that their Hokage is in such a hurry that he forgot about the technique, Flight of the Thunder God, but no one filled him in on it, because everyone was already so excited. XXX. The Land of Geysers. Hot Springs Village. Sitting at the table were the feudal lord from the Land of Geysers with other important lords. They were receiving distinguished guests from the Land of Whirlpool, namely, the young head of the Whirlpool village, the 15-year-old 4th Uzukage Uzumaki Naruto, for whom this was the first time he was conducting international negotiations. Along with him were his advisor Uzumaki Nagato and Uzumaki Karen. His mother Uzumaki Kushina remained in the Whirlpool village. She, as the head of the clan, replaced him in such cases, after her decision to transfer the management of the village to her son, since it is very difficult to manage both the clan and the village. The meeting had been going on for 3 hours when suddenly the head of the security service of the Land of Geysers ran into the hall. He was breathing heavily and could barely say anything, but he still squeezed out that a group of 10 people from the Cloud Village had crossed the country's border. Among them were Jinchuriki, all of them Jonin, and they were holding the 4th Hokage's daughter and the heirs of the Hyuga clan hostage. The strangest thing is that they are accompanied by ANBU, or more precisely, the root of ANBU. They attacked us even before we wanted to check their documents. 53 people died, since no one was ready for this. Reported to the chief guard. After this, Naruto jumped up and addressed the local lords. Let me help you. And, having received consent, he set out to intercept, since he knew that there was only one way to get to the Cloud Village. As they approached the kidnappers, 5 people appeared on their way. From their bandanas, it was clear that they were from the Sound Village. Nagato and Karen decided to take them on, while Naruto went ahead. They wanted to stop him from passing, but Naruto simply used his speed so that the Sound Ninja didn't even understand anything. They didn't expect that someone could get around them so easily. 31. The Border of the Land of Geysers and the Land of Lightning Part 1. Naruto approached the kidnappers. He was very angry. How dare they kidnap his sister, even if she did not even suspect that she had an older brother. Naruto decided that he simply had to save his sister, but he also hoped that she would never know that he was her brother. He thinks it will be better for everyone, because it is unknown how she will take the fact that her father has an illegitimate son. He is very afraid that his sister will hate him, even if he himself wants to see his younger sister. Naruto decided to go around them to intercept them on the border of the Land of Geysers and the Land of Lightning and went another way around the mountains, although it was a short but dangerous path. He arrived at the border very quickly. He was simply furious and was ready to kill even the 4th Raikage right now, but for now these pawns would be enough for him. He waited for them and finally they approached without even worrying about someone attacking them. Thinking that they were afraid, because they showed their strength when they destroyed the border guards, when suddenly they crashed into the barrier and heard a very angry voice. Are you going far away, bastards? To be continued. Chapter 04. Commentary on Chapter 04, Bekino. Naruto and Yugito Ni's fight will be described in Yugito Ni's memories during her stay in the Whirlpool prison. Collision. Naruto's first fight is Uzumaki. Meeting with sister. 32. The Border of the Land of Geysers and the Land of Lightning Part 2. Are you going far away, bastards? Nobody understood anything here. They turned their heads and saw a red-haired guy with Rinnegan and 9 tome in his eyes. So it was the head of the Vortex village who decided to play the hero. And it seems he's tired of living, since he's here. Someone from the cloud said. They immediately realized that they had been hit hard, but they would not give in so easily. While they were thinking about what to do, they did not even notice that the hostages had already been freed. Fighter Root Anbu in the bull mask decided to provoke the young head of the whirlpool and mockingly said. Ha, did you really come to save your sister? Although what kind of sister is she to you, considering that you are illegitimate, your father abandoned you before you were born. Ha ha ha. Everyone heard this and started laughing. I'm warning you, shut up, if you don't want to lose your head, our hero said too calmly, realizing that this was a provocation. What are you going to do to me? Asked Fighter Root Anbu in the bull mask and continued speaking, and even if he didn't know, it doesn't change anything, or do you think that your father or brother and sister need you? Ha ha ha, don't make me laugh, no one needs you, you should have died before you were born. Fighter Root Anbu in the bull mask continued to mock him. He wanted to continue but no one noticed how the head of Fighter Root Anbu in the bull mask flew off his shoulders. The ninja of the Cloud Village who also mocked the genius of the Uzumaki clan, they thought that they were not in any danger, but upon seeing this, they cursed on the spot, this is not a mistake, and heard a voice. I warned you. After these words he went on the attack, no one could do anything, they were all knocked out very quickly. And with you, the kitty will have to work a little, Naruto said mockingly and added, turning to Kurama, let's show this flea-bitten one. Pointing at the girl who was shocked that 10 of the strongest Jonin were defeated in a second, and began to transform into a cat with 2 tails, revealing that she was a Jinchuriki. Naruto, seeing the 2-tailed Biju, simply grinned and Hyuga Hinata was unconscious, and Namikaze Yumi began to regain consciousness, but decided not to show it, giving herself time to think about what was happening. Yumi's thoughts. That this guy is my brother and that my father abandoned his mother pregnant, it's terrible. So he's from another village, and he's the head of the Whirlpool village, it looks like his mother was the head before him. The Whirlpool village is the main ally of the Leaf, because Senju Hashirama's wife is Uzumaki Mito, she was the head of the clan, but now Uzumaki Kushina rules there, which means he's her son. Stop. Did my father really date Uzumaki Kushina before he got married? I have to know, because I have an older brother and I'll find out everything. We all need to get together and discuss everything and maybe we can all become a happy family. I'm sure that father still loves Kushina-san, because my parents' marriage is just a contract marriage between the Namikaze and Sarutobi clans. And I understand that my parents never had feelings, and so I will do everything to make him happy and Yumi's thoughts were interrupted by a beautiful stranger. As she called the young leader from the whirlpool, who approached them to ask something, but they were interrupted by the voice of a young red-haired girl, next to whom was a red-haired guy who was 10 years older. Looks like everything is fine here and there's only one corpse. The girl asked, approaching the two girls and the hero. Approaching Naruto, she kissed him on the lips, and for Yumi it was a surprise, her brother kissing his girlfriend like that in front of everyone, as if they were the only two here, and Hinata remained unconscious. Yeah, he talked too much and. Oh well. Karen, baby, you inspect the girls for now, and Nagato and I will send a message to the Leaf that we have rescued the kidnapped girls and captured those who kidnapped them. Let Yamanaka Inoichi, Morino Ibiki, Hyuga Hiyashi and, if possible, Namikaze Minato come for interrogation. 33. At this time, in the village hidden in the leaves. The entire village was on alert level 3. After all, the heiress of the Hyuga clan and the daughter of the 4th Hokage, who is also the granddaughter of the 3rd Hokage, and this is no joke. All available teams were sent out to search, and orders were given to prepare for war with Hidden Cloud. A letter was sent to the other cage about what the Cloud Village had done, and no one was to interfere. In the Leaf Village itself, the elders tried to prevent it, but Shimura Danzo said that it was not worth starting a war for the sake of two people and they supported him. Mitokado Homura and Udatane Kaharu. They said it was an order and thought it would be carried out as usual, but the Jonin Council, which includes the clan heads, decided unanimously that this could not be left unanswered. They warned that if the elders try to do anything, they will be accused of being involved in the kidnapping, and then they will simply be executed for treason, and clans such as Yamanaka, Nara, Akamichi, Uchiha, Hyuga, Sarutobi, Aburame, Inuzuka will do anything to save Hinata and Yumi in any case. Even the feudal lord of the Land of Fire supported their decision and is ready to temporarily place a patrol on the border. The elders tried to resist, but they were really scared of such arguments. Only Danzo insisted that thousands would die to save two people. It wasn't worth it and his people wouldn't go anywhere. Minato as Hokage gave the order to search for and return the daughter in Heim of the Hyuga clan to Konoha, and failure to fulfill it would be considered treason. As punishment for the stubbornness and impudence of the head of Root Anbu, he said that in case of war, Root Anbu fighters would go into battle first. Danzo had no choice but to agree or he would simply be accused of treason. And he doesn't even know that he will soon be declared the most dangerous criminal in the history of the Leaf Village for treason. 34. The border of the Land of Geysers and the Land of Lightning. Returning, Naruto and Nagato went to meet two girls. Hinata had already woken up, Karen had managed to meet them. So my name is Uzumaki, Naruto is the head of the whirlpool, you met Uzumaki Karen, she is my fiancé, and this is our sensei Uzumaki Nagato. Get acquainted. The girls smiled and said in turn. My name is Namikaze Yumi. And I am Hyuga Hinata, said the beautiful Hinata, blushing. Since we've met, then let's go to the Whirlpool Village, I sent messages to the Leaf and they'll come for you. Naruto said calmly and walked forward. Yumi wanted to say something, but decided to do it in his village, hoping that she could talk to his mother first. Hinata walked next to Yumi, with Nagato and Karen walking behind. Hinata was very upset to learn that Naruto had a girlfriend, because she fell in love with him the moment she saw him. Hinata's thoughts. They are from the same clan and it is understandable. It is also understandable that they want to leave all the secrets of the clan. I even understand that they love each other and. Hinata's thoughts were interrupted by Karen. Yumi, Hinata, we should stay for the night, and in the morning we will continue our journey, there are 2 hours left. Don't worry about the possibility of an attack, since we are in the country of the whirlpool, so you can sleep peacefully. After dinner, the two girls went to the tent, Karen also went to them after she kissed her fiancé. Naruto stayed on duty and waited for Nagato, who would replace him later. Of course, the barrier was also set up. Everything was quiet at night. It was unlikely that anyone would risk attacking the head of the Whirlpool Village, who had more chakra than all the cage combined. The barrier also helped to keep anyone out. They would arrive at the Whirlpool Village by 10 o'clock in the morning, where Uzumaki Kushina would be waiting to immediately take the prisoners for interrogation, and also prepare for a meeting with Minato, whom she didn't really want to see. 35. Land of Lightning, Cloud Village, residents of the Raikage. At the table sat a healthy, pumped up, very satisfied dark-skinned man of about 35 years old. He is the 4th Raikage and he must first of all think about how to make the Cloud Village the strongest. Thoughts. He had to negotiate with Shimura Danzo that the Cloud would help him seize power in the Leaf in exchange for the Byakugan, and he agreed and helped arrange the kidnapping of Hiyashi's eldest daughter to take his eyes and Minato's daughter to control him. He sent a squad and sent the two-tailed Jinchuriki Yugito Ni to make sure. Soon he will receive a report on the progress of the operation to deliver the objects, and then a little more, and not only, Byakugan, will be in his hands, but also the lever of control over the fourth Hokage. However, Danzo cannot be trusted. He can simply betray, and perhaps it will be best to do so as to present Minato with everything as if the Cloud Village decided to help the Leaf Village get rid of the traitor in order to have peace. Even if it were necessary to return Hiyashi's daughter and Minato's daughter back to the Hidden Leaf, of course, in complete safety and security, then we would definitely be able to gain their trust, and then we would be able to strike and completely destroy the Hidden Leaf once and for all. This is a great plan, I thought, smiling again. The Raikage can't even imagine that everything will go far from his plan, and that his ambitions and thirst for power and intrigue will bring so many problems to the village of the cloud, that everyone will be against them, and that the village hidden in the clouds awaits. 36. Fire Country. In the Leaf Village near the Hokage's residence. Part 1. The village was restless. After all, the heiress of the Hyuga clan and the daughter of the fourth Hokage had been kidnapped. She is also the granddaughter of the third Hokage. Everyone was waiting to announce the beginning of the war with the Hidden Cloud, because they couldn't just doom two young girls to death. Better war than such a disgrace. Suddenly, everyone heard some noise, and near the Hokage's residence, some flower suddenly began to grow, namely, the carnivorous plant Venus flytrap. This is not a mistake, it's supposed to be like that. No one understood anything, but when it opened, everyone saw a message. When the fourth Hokage arrived, he also did not understand where this flower came from, because there was no one who used Mokudan, or so Minato thought. But, still, Minato thought about how to take the message. The flower can bite, the flower is alive, and was sent to Minato. No one else could take the message, and while Minato was thinking, the liana from the flower simply took the scroll and put it right in his hands, after which it began to disappear, which also shocked him. Having looked at who the message was from, Minato was surprised again, since it was from the Hidden Whirlpool Village from the fourth Uzukage, Uzumaki Naruto. To be continued. P.S. Yes, I am Ukrainian. It is a bit difficult for me to write in Russian. I just went to a Ukrainian school. But I can read Russian easily, because I was able to read all the novels of a Dumas, and not only in Russian. Chapter 05. Commentary on Chapter 05 Bekino. Please send feedback. Sorry for any mistakes. Naruto's return. Hinata and Yumi arrive at the Whirlpool Village. 37. Fire Country. In the Leaf Village near the Hokage's residence. Part 2. After looking at who the message was from, Minato was surprised again, as it was from the Hidden Whirlpool Village from the fourth Uzukage, Uzumaki Naruto. It was a bit unexpected, but he began to understand that there was someone in the Hidden Whirlpool who used the wood element. Does this mean that it can only be the direct heir of Senju Hashirama and Uzumaki Mito? Although, this is understandable, after all, Senju and Uzumaki have always been relatives. That's clear. Now the message decryption. After the decoders, well, those who can crack codes, learned the essence of the message, they went to the Hokage to tell the good news. Minato and Hiruzen were sitting on the couch. Hiyashi was with them, when suddenly the decoder ran up to them and said, Hokage-sama, Hinata-sama and Yuki-sama were saved by our allies from the whirlpool. This was done personally by the fourth Uzukage Naruto-sama. He asks that we come to them. He also asks for Yamanaka Inoichi and Morino Ibiki to come to interrogate the prisoners. It also says that Danzo is involved in the kidnapping, and the evidence is 3 captured and 1 dead root fighter and 10 captured Cloud Jonin who killed 53 people from the land of geysers. There are also documents to prove Danzo's guilt. Fought. We need to leave immediately. I will go personally, and you, Hiruzen-sama, you will stay in the village, Minato ordered. Now neither Danzo nor Kaharu and Homura will definitely get out of this unscathed, Hiruzen said happily. 38. Countries of the Whirlpool. At the gates of the village of the Whirlpool. Approaching the main entrance of the Whirlpool village, where Uzumaki Kushina was waiting for them, and as soon as she saw Yumi, she was very upset, but did not show it. She already knew that a delegation from the Hidden Leaf would soon arrive, and the worst thing for her was that Minato would also arrive, whom she wanted to see the least. Naruto approached his mother and said something in her ear, after which she smiled and introduced herself. Oops. Excuse me, my name is Uzumaki Kushina, I am the mother of this blockhead. Having said this, she simply laughed, but seeing Naruto's offended look, she added, Nice to meet you and welcome to the Hidden Whirlpool Village. I hope you like it here, you can feel at home here. First, Let's go to the hospital for an examination, and then we'll just chat in a female company. Here the girls were a little confused, but still introduced themselves. My name is Namikaze Yumi, said the blonde, with the same blue eyes as Naruto himself, looking at her brother's mother and realizing that Kushina-sama was very beautiful. And I am Hyuga Hinata, the heiress of the Hyuga clan, said modestly, looking at how beautiful Naruto's mother is. After Kushina took Yumi and Hinata to the hospital, Nagato went to the residence at Naruto's request. Naruto himself smiled slyly, picked up Karen, who didn't understand anything, in his arms. The sly smile did not leave his face and Karen herself finally noticed it. She understood his intentions and naturally was not against it, but since she is Uzumaki, she decided to torment him a little, pretending that she did not want it and, naturally, then give in. Naruto saw her smile, he understood her game, and he smiled again and, holding her close, he moved to their room. Putting Karen on their huge king-size bed, he lay down next to her, and then. From the author. What happened next is already clear. 39. Whirlpool Country. Leaf Ninja on the way to Whirlpool Village. Meanwhile, the group from the Leaf Village, being in the territory of the Whirlpool Country, decided to rest a little in order to arrive at the Whirlpool Village by evening. They all understood that Yumi and Hinata were completely safe. Minato reassured the head of the Hyuga clan. Don't worry, your Yumi-chan and my Hinata-chan are fine, they are with our allies. Even I'm not that worried, although you know that I won't trust you just like that. You know that the Hyuga clan signed a cooperation agreement with the Uzumaki clan. Or are you worried about meeting Kushina and Naruto? Minato didn't expect such a question and simply answered. Yes, I'm very afraid that Kushina and Naruto won't want to talk to me and will only communicate with me officially. Thoughts, Hyuga Hiyashi. I made the right decision when I signed the contract between the Hyuga clan and the Uzumaki clan. It's just a pity that Naruto has a fiancé and there will soon be a wedding, otherwise I would have proposed a marriage between Naruto and Hinata. But apparently it wasn't meant to be. In any case, I wish them happiness, because it's obvious that they love each other. Thoughts, Namikaze Kara. Yes, what my father told me shocked me. I understand a lot, but how you can force someone to marry me, I will never understand. It seems that my father loves Kushina-sama very much, and to be honest, I want him to be happy, and if she still loves him, then she will forgive him. Father did not know that Kushina-sama was expecting a child, but this does not justify him in abandoning his son. I do not know how, but I have a feeling that she will accept both me and my sister, but whether our older brother will accept us, I do not know. The fact that our brother is the head of an entire village says a lot, and I will hope that he will not be against him having a younger brother and sister. But he will not forgive my father so easily, and I completely understand him. Thoughts, Morino Ibiki. Finally, some entertainment, otherwise it's getting boring. From the author. Ibiki is a sadist. Haha. Thoughts, Yamanaka Inoichi. It's immediately obvious that Ibiki is happy about the opportunity to, because this sadist just wants to have fun. I wouldn't want to end up in his interrogation. Nara Shikaku's thoughts. How problematic. From the author. Laziness is hereditary in the Nara clan. Namikaze Minato's thoughts. I hope I can talk to my son. No matter what, Naruto saved his sister and I simply have to talk to him. Even if he wasn't my son, I owe Naruto and his village. Perhaps I have a chance to win the forgiveness of both Kushina and Naruto. Perhaps it will be easier with Kushina, but it will be harder to get my son's forgiveness, and I'm even sure that Naruto will hit me when we meet for leaving his mother pregnant. Even if I didn't know about it, it still doesn't justify me. I will only hope that I don't end up in the hospital. Haha, let him hit me and then forgive me, then keep everything to himself. But I am absolutely sure that he will get along with Kara and Yumi and they will also accept him. How I want us to be like one family, and I will still achieve that we become one family. I'm just happy that my son became the head of the village at 15, which means he was recognized as a strong leader. As a father, I'm proud of my son, and I think Kara and Yumi are proud of their brother and won't be upset that they are still genin at 13, and their brother served in the UNBU while they were at the academy and at 12 became not only a jonin, but also the head of the UNBU. The main thing for me now is to make sure Yumi is safe, make peace with Kushina and... With such thoughts, Minato ran. He was so lost in thought that he crashed into a pillar with images of the whirlpool. It meant that they had entered the territory of the Whirlpool Country. XL. Whirlpool Countries. Whirlpool Village Hospital. Yumi, Hinata and Kushina were approaching the hospital. Hinata looked around with admiration. She had simply never seen such beauty before, and she really liked it here. After all, Hinata had never come to another hidden village before, and even her home village was not as beautiful as here. Well, naturally, she had never left the Leaf Village before she became a genin. The thing she liked the most was the nine-tailed fox statue. It was just beautiful. Well, imagine seeing a giant statue of what everyone calls a demon made of pure gold, the height of which was at least 250 meters, it would shock everyone. Yumi was also walking, but she was kind of thoughtful, and something was definitely bothering her. She didn't pay attention to what was around. Kushina noticed this and asked, "What's bothering her?" Yumi replied that they needed to talk about her father and that it was very important. Although Kushina didn't want to, she agreed. "You're right, Yumi-chan, let's talk," Kushina answered smiling. Yumi was a little surprised and immediately asked, "Kushina-sama, do you still love Namikaze Minato?" For some reason, Kushina expected exactly this question first and answered calmly. XLI. The border of the Land of Fire and the Land of Whirlpool. Part 1. The border guards were expecting guests. After all, it's not every day that the fourth Hokage himself comes to visit them. When suddenly they heard some noise and carefully went to look and heard laughter. They looked and what they saw made them laugh too, but they held back, and it was very difficult to do. Well, imagine seeing Yellow Leaf Lightning sitting on the ground, or rather lying opposite a pole with a bump on his forehead, and everyone laughing around him. It's hard to hold back. The head of the meeting group smiled, bowed, greeted and said in a cheerful voice, "Welcome to the Land of the Whirlpool." To be continued. When the Leaf Ninja arrived in the village, they saw one statue, which was a shock to them. I'll tell you about the reaction later for the sake of intrigue. There's a very funny moment there. CHAPTER 06. Commentary on CHAPTER 06 Bekino. Leave reviews. Sorry for mistake. I don't know exactly when there will be a continuation, but there definitely will be. I have 6 more chapters almost ready. Minato's arrival in the village of Whirlpool. Meeting Minato and Kushina. XLII. The border of the Land of Fire and the Land of Whirlpool. Part 2. Welcome to the Land of the Whirlpool. Thank you for the warm welcome, Nara Shikaku said with a smile. The rest simply nodded their heads in greeting. We are happy to visit your beautiful country, but let's hurry to the village, because they are waiting for us, and it would be wrong if we were late. The chief strategist of the Leaf Village said, since Minato was still unconscious after colliding with the pillar. Yes, of course, but what about Minato-san? Asked one of the envoys. I think he's just sleeping. Hiyashi said. Minato, like me, has barely slept since my daughter was kidnapped. Right now, I can barely stand on my feet, and that bug just took the opportunity to rest a little, and to be honest, I would have done the same. The head of the Hyuga clan said with a smile. Inoichi, Ibiki, take Minato and let's go. Shikaku said. Aha, they only answered. How much longer until the village? Asked Kara, who had remained silent until then. About half a day's journey. Minato answered, having come to his senses. Well then, let's go. Said Kara. Exley. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village 2:40 p.m. Home of the 4th Uzukage Naruto. In the room on the bed lay 2 young people, 2 representatives of the Uzumaki clan, namely Naruto, the young head of the village, and his beloved Karen. They had very distant family ties, but for clans that want to keep their secrets, this is normal. After all, before the clans began to unite, marriages were allowed only within the clan or marriage with ordinary people from rich families was possible. But now no one prohibits mixed marriages with different clans, according to the laws of the Vortex Village, but fictitious marriages are prohibited, which means that no one can give an order to marry someone. Even if the clan is threatened and something is demanded. Naruto finally woke up after a night of love. He looked at the clock and was horrified. The clock showed 14:40, it was the first time he slept for so long. Naruto remembered what happened yesterday. First he fought against the Cloud Ninja and Danzo's thugs from the route UNBU. Leaf. Then the battle against the 2-tailed Jinchuriki, saving 2 girls from the Leaf, the heiress of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hinata, and the daughter of the 4th Hokage, Namikaze Yumi, who is my half-sister. Damn. That idiot from Root told me that I was her brother, then I finished him off. I hope that she won't ask any questions for now. But for now, we need to rest. After we spent the night in the forest, in the morning we arrived at the village, my mother took them for examination, and Nagato went to the office. Karen and I went on a date after, which was our most wonderful night, although all our nights were wonderful. Well, Well, after all, soon the Leaf Ninja will arrive, and the fourth Hokage himself will arrive, Naruto thought, still lying in bed. XLIV. Fire Country. Village hidden in the leaves. ANBU Root Base. The head of the secret unit Root ANBU, Shimura Danzo, was furious. Thoughts. The fourth Hokage dared to spit on the elder's decision. He decided to start a war because even two people are dear to him, and I think that starting a war and losing thousands to save two is just nonsense. Damn it, Minato dared to order me to send my people into battle first as pawns, and if I refuse, then I will be accused of treason for disobeying orders. Doesn't Minato understand that he made a mistake that will cost him his life? It's just that if I were the Hokage, then we would definitely be able to win, but with a weak Hokage like Minato, we don't have a chance. Now that idiot from the Whirlpool village saved Minato's daughter and the heiress of the Hyuga clan. The Cloud village should have helped after his beloved daughter was kidnapped, eliminated Minato in order to help me get the Hokage position that should be mine, and their payment should have been the Byakugan. It was necessary to get rid of this scum back when he was just born, but I was only able to finish off his sister. I didn't expect that the nine-tailed fox would be able to overcome the influence of the Sharingan and start protecting the Whirlpool village. How dare they put this brat in charge of the village without even asking permission from the elders of the Leaf village? At first, they made Kushina the head of the village, and we kept silent, because then Minato would have found out that Kushina was pregnant and then she would be under his protection, but now this bastard has become the head and I will not keep silent now. I will show that the Whirlpool village is obliged to obey me and the Rinnengan will not save them, because this brat will not dare to attack us, he will simply be scared. But it is still risky, so I have an idea that if he marries, say, the daughter of Inoichi or Hiashi, then we can wait for the birth of the child, and then take him. Then not only this Naruto will do everything for his child, but also Minato will do everything I tell them to do. Yes, that's exactly what I'll do. The cruelest supposedly person from the Leaf village grinned with his vile smile. XLV. The Whirlpool countries. Whirlpool village. Entering the village. We've finally arrived. Minato, Hiashi called to him, please be more restrained. Yes. Yellow Leaf Lightning answered him calmly. Oh, they're coming to meet us, said Kara. Hello, I am Uzumaki Nagato, the right hand of the fourth Uzukage, welcome to the hidden Whirlpool village. We are also very pleased to meet you, said the Leaf strategist, Nara Shikaku. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Nara Shikaku, this is Yamanaka Inoichi, Morino Ibiki, Hyuga Hiashi, Namikaze Minato, and this is Minato-san's son, Kara. Let's go to the hospital. Yumi-chan and Hinata-chan are there, but don't worry, they were just getting checked out. XLVI. The Whirlpool countries. The Whirlpool village. The hospital. Everyone came into the hospital. Inoichi, Shikaku, Ibiki decided to wait in the lobby with Nagato, and Hiashi, Minato and Kara immediately went to the girls' room, where they were already waiting. At this time, Karen and Kushina were near the girls. They were chatting nicely, laughing. When there was a knock on the door, Kushina immediately understood who had come. She immediately looked at the door and saw him. She looked at the man she hadn't seen for 16 years, the one who abandoned her like an unnecessary thing and because of whom she suffered, the one she once loved and still loves. She saw Namikaze Minato. Minato, seeing Kushina, didn't know what to say. Hiashi decided not to interfere, and went to his daughter to hug her right away and just give vent to his feelings. Kara also, so as not to interfere, went to his sister and hugged her. Karen just stood and watched, and then decided to quietly leave so as not to disturb anyone. The only thing Minato could say was, Kush, shish, Ina you look great. He said this stuttering and immediately smiling, just like his eldest son smiles. To which Kushina simply snorted and said that it was banal and added, Namikaze Minato, you didn't come here to make eyes at me, but to interrogate those who kidnapped Yumi-chan and Hinata-chan. Don't worry, I've prepared a house for you. Minato didn't know what to say right away, but he still asked about his son. She. Nah, why did you keep quiet about your son? After all, I am his father and... But Kushina interrupted him and said that her son has no father, he abandoned them. She decided to keep quiet about her daughter. You know, Minato, it's better for you not to meet my son. He just told me that if he meets his so-called father, he'll just punch him in the eye, and he doesn't care that you're Hokage, he's Uzukage now, so don't be offended if you get punched in the eye. XLV. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. 6:30 a.m. Uzukage Residence. Part 1. The young Uzukage, approaching the entrance of the residence, immediately realized that the morning was ruined because he felt that many people had gathered in his office and among them was the one he had avoided meeting for the entire 3 days he had been in his village. Namikaze Minato, this was the man he, Uzumaki Naruto, had been avoiding. He was afraid that he would not be able to restrain himself and would simply hit him and tell him everything he thought about him. Entering the office, Naruto immediately realized that everyone was looking at him. Inoichi, Hiashi, Ibiki, Nagato, Kushina, Yumi, Kara, Hinata and Minato. If Inoichi, Ibiki were just looking, then Hiashi, he had seen him before, back when he was blonde, then seeing him red-haired was unexpected. Kara did not expect to see that his brother was so pumped up, but he thought that he looked like their father. Yumi and Hinata were just admiring. Yumi admired him as a brother, then Hinata was just devouring him with her eyes, which her father noticed and simply smiled, because his little Hinata paid attention to someone for the first time. If Nagato was afraid that they might soon have to do major repairs or build a new building, then Kushina, looking at him and seeing his angry face and furious gaze directed at Minato, they were afraid that he would do something rash on emotions. But Naruto just smiled and politely greeted Hyuga Hiashi and Hinata, Yamanaka Inoichi, Morino Ibiki, Namikaze Yumi and Kara with her mother and Nagato, but then he said angrily. Well, hello Namikaze Minato, and I want to tell you right away that I am not happy to meet you. To be continued. Chapter 07. Commentary on Chapter 07, Bekino. Father and son meeting. Naruto's secret revealed. Minato's wrath Part 1. XLVIII. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. 6:30 a.m. Uzukage Residence Part 2. Well, hello Namikaze Minato, and I want to tell you right away that I am not happy to meet you. Everyone in the office was, to put it mildly, in shock. They of course understood the reason, but they couldn't even imagine that Naruto would immediately say such a thing to his father in front of everyone, even if this was their first meeting. Naruto, what do you mean by this? Kushina asked, surprised. She expected that her son would not be very happy that a man he hated as much as the elders of the Leaf Village in Danzo had arrived here. But she did not expect that he would say everything he thought about his father in front of everyone. What did you want? Have you forgotten what he did? Did you really think that I would accept him joyfully? Ha, you won't get it. If I weren't the head of the village, I would have gone on a mission while this man was in the village. But I was unlucky in this and I have to be here. Well, is it really good to be so hostile to a guest? Especially if it's the fourth Hokage himself. Kara said cautiously, looking at his older brother with incomprehension, and simply asked him another question. Forgive me, of course, but what did Namikaze Minato do to you that you treat him like that? He really wanted to know why his brother hated his father so much. And not only him, but also Yumi, who was almost in tears. The guests from Leaf had long understood that, judging by the tense atmosphere in the office, and the fear in Nagato and Kushina's eyes, that he knew who his father was and that he hated him, but now they were just waiting for his reaction and answer to the question. But no one could imagine that he would just jump up and shout to go with him immediately. Kushina understood what he had in mind and remembered their conversation. Pav. Kushina's memories. Beginning. Naruto, son, this can't go on like this. Mom, what are you talking about? He pretended not to understand what she was talking about. You know perfectly well what I mean, your hair color should be light, because you are the son of our village and its future, and you constantly dye it. But it's the hair color and the Uzumaki clan's characteristic, Minato's son answered calmly. Yes, but I want you to be yourself and in general if you forgot, the founder of the Uzumaki clan was a blonde, like you. Kushina said, with a little pressure, because she knew Naruto since his childhood. When he listened to the story about their clan, he was proud that he was the same as the founder. But he could not just give up, so Kushina was shocked by his words. You know perfectly well the main reason why I wear makeup, don't you? He looked at his mother with interest and simply waited for an answer to his question. Yes, I know, I'm just saddened if you think that I'm worried because you look like Minato. It's not so. You are the meaning of life for me, looking at you. I'm glad that I have you and it doesn't matter what color your head is, Kushina said, almost crying. She couldn't tell him the whole truth. But you know, you're right, but in fact I wasn't going to dye my hair forever, I'll go blonde again, but only when I do something, but I won't say what exactly yet, let it be a shock for him. Naruto said calmly and added very quietly under his breath so that his mother wouldn't hear him, something like, it's for my little sister Sasuke that he should put moral pressure on him. From the author, this is not a mistake, Naruto meant his father, he just calls him that. Who is to blame for everything? Who are you talking about? Kushina heard and understood everything, but pretended not to understand. Naruto just looked at his mother and said that she would find out everything when the time came, but for now let it be so, because there was not much time left and he would become her son again. Pav. Kushina's memories. The end. It looks like he's going to do something. But where did he take Minato and the others? Kushina asked herself and ran after them. And when she saw where exactly Naruto took Minato, she realized that Minato would find out everything about Naruto. That he had a daughter who was killed by those who simply had to obey him, but instead they act against him. And it becomes clear to me that Minato will question and demand answers from me about what happened to their daughter and I will have to tell everything, but naturally not right away. XLIX. Land of Lightning. Cloud Village. Residents of the Raikage. The fourth Raikage was furious. He just received a message that his plan went to hell, because the team that kidnapped Namikaze Yumi and Hyuga Hinata was completely destroyed. What kind of idiot did you have to be to kill the border guards in the land of geysers, so they asked for help from this Uzumaki and now you can't make a claim. If everyone finds out that the Cloud Shinobi attacked people in the land of geysers, then we're screwed. It's a pity for our Jinchuriki, she was strong, but not strong enough. This is all because of Danzo, his desire to seize power by any means and my desire, to get, Byakugan, played against me, but I have an idea how to get out of it. It's a pity that I will have to sacrifice Yugito's reputation, because she is probably dead, but nothing can be done, it's like Danzo says, for the safety of the village, I will use any means, and for this I will do. From the author. What really happened to Yugito and what the Raikage was planning and the consequences will become known later, but for now it's a secret. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. 6:30 a.m. Cemetery. Part 1. Minato ran after Naruto, not understanding where he was leading them, but the strangest thing was that he had a strange premonition, he felt that he would find out about something terrible and it would really be his fault. And so he arrived at the place. At the gates of the cemetery Minato stopped, going over in his mind what exactly was happening here, the others were just silent. Kara and Yumi also felt something strange, and they, along with their father, looked at Naruto, and he pointed that they should go further. Kushina and Nagato just remained silent, but nodded their heads for everyone to follow him. Walking through the cemetery, with each passing minute the bad feeling grew not only in Minato, but also in Kara and Yumi. Something told them that what they were about to see would be a shock for them. And they couldn't even imagine what kind. Naruto approached the tombstone waving his hand towards Minato so that he would come closer. Minato approached closer and looked at Naruto. There was rage in his eyes, but he still hid his emotions very skillfully. He simply pointed at the inscription on the tombstone and turned around, but before leaving he said, "Read the name and you will understand why I hate you," and he simply disappeared with a pop, which meant it was a shadow clone. Minato read the name and was shocked. His terrible premonition did not deceive him, he understood everything. He understood why his son hated him but he just fell to his knees and couldn't hold back his tears. Kara and Yumi saw this and ran to their father, not understanding what was wrong with him. Asking what happened, he simply pointed to the name. The others looked and were silent, words were unnecessary now. Hinata. Kara and Yumi looked at the name and were shocked, because on the tombstone was written the name. Note. There are 2 or 3 parts here and I've divisioned it for intrigue. To be continued. From the author. I wrote Otsutsuki Hagoromo as the main character for a reason. What role he plays, I will tell in the following chapters. I also explained that the Uzumaki clan's Rinnenga is not all powerful, the only thing it gives is 1. Control 5 elements, but mostly only 3 since it is dangerous to health even for Uzumaki, but you can choose any elements. 2. The force of gravity is to attract and repel, but not so strong. 3. Absorb ninjutsu. Only a few can gain one of the powers. 4. The power to read minds. 5. Call. 6. The power of a robot or whatever it is correctly, I don't remember. Only Nagato has the eyes of a sage, and can use all paths, and Naruto has full eyes, Rinneshirengan, and has all 9 volumes, which gives him the ability to combine any elements. How Danzo found out that Kushina was pregnant and why she left without hysteria and other secrets will be told gradually. I have almost everything written, but basically I need to correct the chapters and describe the battles, and check, it will be very interesting further. I even wrote an epilogue. I hope that my 6 months of work were not in vain. If you have any questions, please ask them in the reviews. Chapter 08. Commentary on Chapter 08 Bekino. Leave your comments. Sorry for any mistakes. Father and son meeting. Naruto's secrets revealed. Minato's wrath part 2. Li. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. 6:35 a.m. Cemetery. Part 2. Hinata. Kara and Yumi looked at the name and were shocked, because on the tombstone was written the name. AAAA. WHO. WHO am I asking? WHO did this. After reading what was written there, Minato asked a question with a scream. And his scream was probably heard on all the islands of the archipelago. Minato was angry, he was ready to tear anyone to pieces. Whoever did this, he, she or they, it doesn't matter. Those WHO are guilty will pay for this with their worthless lives. They will see all my rage. Yumi. I don't understand what. How, is this really RSS sister? Minato's youngest daughter said in tears, just looking at her father. Kara just stood there and couldn't say a word. He looked sadly at Kushina, and then angrily at his father. He tried to hold back his anger and tears, but he couldn't, and turned around and just ran away. Minato didn't know how to react to this, he just started thinking about it all. Minato's thoughts. I saw my children's eyes, and I understand that I deserve such an attitude, and it doesn't matter that he didn't know that Kushina just left without telling him that he would soon become a father. If everyone had found out then it would have been possible to prevent Kushina from leaving. Those damn old men, they had too much authority back then. But if the daimyo had found out about it, then he would have simply put them in their place. Although, what is the point of thinking about it now? The past cannot be changed, and now it is important to find out what happened, and only my beloved tomato can give the answer to my question. Now she is just standing and looking at me, and I see that tears are streaming down her beautiful face. She understands what I am about to ask. These were the thoughts that Minato had before he asked Kushina the question. From the author. Ha ha ha. I hope everyone remembers Kushina's first nickname. Kushina, I want to know the truth about everything. He said this, trying to contain his feelings. Kushina's thoughts. I knew my son would do something, but I didn't think it would be like this. Here he is, looking at his daughter's grave. Damn, I can't lie to him and make him suffer. He needs to know the truth. Here he is asking me. He wants to know. Well, I'll tell him everything, but not here, but. Her thoughts were interrupted by Minato's repeated question. Lee, Land of Lightning, Cloud Village, residents of the Raikage. There were two people sitting in the office, talking about a plan that would at least slightly save the reputation of Cloud Village and the entire country of Lightning. Raikage-sama, I did as you ordered, but are you sure that this is right? The dark-skinned man with white hair asked. Yes, this is the only thing that can save our village now. But, his right hand wanted to say, and was interrupted by the boss. Darui, there, on the border, our people killed the youngest son of the daimyo of the Land of Geysers, and that is the problem. They accuse us of attacking and have a lot of evidence. So we will do this. This information must first reach the Land of Geysers, Fire and Whirlpool. I see, I hope it helps. Darui simply answered. I hope so too, Hei answered calmly. Liii, Whirlpool Country, Whirlpool Village, 6:45 a.m. Cemetery. Part 3. Thoughts. Hiyashi, what a turn of events. I've been here so many times and never even guessed about the second child, even though I knew the truth about Naruto. And this inscription says a lot. Now I understand Naruto's attitude towards Minato. I think it will be difficult for my friend to establish any kind of relationship with him, let alone more. But what is nice is the reaction of Kara and Yumi. After all, the call of the heart tells them that there is nothing more important in the world than family ties. I'm sure that they will get along, but even Kara and Yumi will soon be cold towards their father. As a friend of Minato and Kushina, and as Naruto's godfather, I will do everything in my power to establish relations between them. It seems to me that not all is lost for Minato and Kushina, and Naruto will not interfere with his mother's happiness. It's funny, I never thought that I would have to be a matchmaker, because as the head of the clan, I can't just interfere in the lives of other people. But for the sake of friends I can sacrifice my reputation a little. And the most important thing is that if I don't do it, my dear wife will send me to a monastery, because I won't get anything else. And so Minato asked her to tell him everything, and, apparently, she was ready to hear this question. From the author. I hope everyone understood that Hiyashi's wife will not let him into bed. Hiyashi had such thoughts. From the author. My Hiyashi is not obsessed with the honor of the clan and fate, for him friends are above all, and his wife Henna is alive and brother Hazashi. But he is only strict for appearance, and from those who know the truth from the clan itself are, wife, brother, nephew, and daughters, well, naturally, and friends. Minato simply repeated his question again. Kushina, please, you have to tell me everything. I have to know, Minato said, falling to his knees, not even holding back his tears. Minato, are you sure you want to know the truth? You probably won't like the truth, since it concerns your village. Yes, Minato cried out, expecting that he would get an answer to all the questions. So be it, I will tell you everything, but this is not the right place for such a frank conversation. Come tonight at 7 o'clock to the statue of the nine-tailed fox, and I will tell you something that even Naruto does not know. You will learn the whole truth about why I simply left without hysteria and about what happened on the day, or rather the evening, when Naruto and Naruto were born. And after that, she simply walked towards the village, thinking that first she needed to go to the underground temple sanctuary of the Uzumaki clan, and then go get ready to meet Fluffy. Bloody Habanero thought with a smile and somehow cheerfully. From the author. Fluffy is what Kushina called Minato in the episode where she just arrived and met the class. At least, that's the translation I had. Live. Fire Country. Village hidden in the leaves. ANBU root base. The door to the office of the head of the secret unit Koran ANBU opened with a bang, almost flying off its hinges, and a man shouted from the threshold. Danzo. Ancient bandaged fossil, you've messed up again. I don't even have words to say everything I think of you. Like last time, I gave you all kinds of data which gave you an advantage. Last time you had the opportunity to take back what rightfully belonged to me. I even gave you the secret codes that those red-haired idiots of Leaf Village gave me as a sign of trust. You must lay down on the bottom and don't move. If you think of doing something, then. Basically, in short, I have specific dirt about you, and I will give all the information to Minato if you try to do something. Do you understand me, UNDERBANDED mummy? The unknown man said in a rage. He said it in such an angry tone that even Danzo, who was used to hiding his emotions, trembled with fear. Yes, Lord, that was the only thing one of the second Hokage's students said. Well, if you act behind my back then, I think you understand that I promise you complete mummification. The mysterious man said with a laugh and, before leaving this gloomy place, added, see you again, old friend. Thoughts, damn idiot, he failed the mission I gave him again. Well, if he fails me again then, well, I'll just get rid of him. When he could have gotten rid of Minato, Hitaki Kakashi saved him. True, no one understood who exactly carried out the attack, since no one was left alive. Of course, I could have done everything myself, but I can't reveal myself yet. But I know for sure that this mummy candidate will remain silent. Ha ha ha, he laughed. And then such a brutal smile never left his face that all the Korn ANBU fighters he met on the way to the exit simply shuddered in fear. Even the devil himself would be afraid of his laughter and that grin. The last thing the unknown man thought before he disappeared was, I will subject the whole world to myself, and not be great. The son of the great, and the brother of no less the great, the descendant of the great. From the author. I love to intrigue everyone. To be continued. CHAPTER 09. Commentary on Chapter 09 Bekino. Leave your feedback. Sorry for mistakes. Father and son meeting. Naruto's secret revealed. Minato's Wrath Part 3. LV. Fire Country. Village hidden in the leaves. Root base ANBU. The last thing the unknown man thought before he disappeared was, I will subject the whole world to myself, and not be the great Uchiha Izuma, the son of the great Uchiha Tajima and the brother of the no less great Madara, the descendant of the great Otsutsuki Indra. And as soon as they return, we will return them together. And the clan will pay for everything first. And, with a bolt of lightning, he disappeared. From the author. How did I shock you? You will soon find out how he survived and what he planned and who he wants to bring back. He disappeared just like Obito did after talking with Nagato and Conan. LVI. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. Residence Roof. He stood on the roof watching the sunset, and Yumi and Kara were with him. They decided that tomorrow they would sit down and talk calmly, and for now they would just be together. Hinata and Karen decided not to interfere in their relationship for now. Instead, they wanted to go shopping and then go to a cafe to gossip a little. Now even Kurama was silent and couldn't say anything, as he was very worried about his friend. Any careless word could hurt now. The silence was broken by Nagato's voice. Naruto, look at this information urgently. Naruto calmly took the sheet and what he read shocked him. And he said, Nagato, it's urgent, We'll go to the special prisoner now and tell her everything. I think it will be an unpleasant surprise for her. After all, this document from the Cloud Village states that a group of ninja in the incident in the territory of the country of geysers, LED by Yugito ni. From the author, I won't say what was in the letter to keep the intrigue. LVII, the land of Whirlpool, the village of Whirlpool, the clan's temple shrine. Kushina came out of the dungeon. She received advice from the great sage, who approved her decision to tell everything. But first, Minato will have to agree to her terms or else. The great sage told Kushina that she had to look stunning enough to make Minato's jaw drop, and so she had to hurry to the store. LVII. Fire Country. Village hidden in the leaves. The quarter of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Sasuke recalled the information he had received after dinner. Pav. Uchiha Sasuke. Memory. Beginning. At the barbecue bar, 10 people were sitting at a table waiting for their order. I am Uchiha Sasuke, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji, Aburame Shino, Inazuka Kiba, Hyuga Neji, Tenten, Haruno Sakura and Rock Lee. We were all in a bad mood, because our friends Namikaze Yumi and Hyuga Hinata had recently been kidnapped. They had no information about this kidnapping. Anyway, they were just genin. They only knew that the entire Leaf Village had begun full mobilization and preparations for war from the Cloud Village. As Sasuke told us, his brother and his friend promised to come soon and tell us something. And as soon as the order was brought, Uchiha Itachi and Shisui arrived. As if they smelled barbecue and immediately showed up. Haha. Their eyes showed that they would give us the information in exchange for us paying for their lunch. We had no choice but to agree. I could tell they were making fun of us and even enjoying it. After paying for our order, we were surprised that they ordered everything in moderation, as if they didn't want to ruin us. We got the information and I sent a displeased look to my brother and started reading, while these two freeloaders ran away like giggling idiots. After reading, my mood, like all of us, was lifted. Yumi and Hinata were saved by the fourth Uzukage, Uzumaki Naruto. We all really wanted to meet him, and we will hope that he will come to our village, although it is unlikely that he will deal with ordinary genin. Pav. Uchiha Sasuke. Memory. The end. Sasuke was so caught up in his memories that he didn't notice the surveillance right away, and as soon as he looked in that direction, there was no one there. He could have pawned his shiringan that someone was there. Mentally said, well, Uchiha Sasuke, I so hope that after losing your beloved, you, being furious, would awaken Mangekyo Shiringan and come to me for strength, but this time her brother saved her, thereby disrupting my plans and about whom she does not even know. Damn him, but never mind, next time I will do everything myself, and you will become my weapon. A flash and he disappeared. Licks. The land of Whirlpool. The village of Whirlpool. The inn. Well, I'm ready for the upcoming meeting with my beloved. I bought my beloved Tomato's favorite flowers and... His thoughts out loud were interrupted by Hiyashi laughing. Minato, ha ha ha, I advise you ha ha, don't accidentally call her that when you meet, otherwise. I personally remember how painful it was after I accidentally called her that. True, I was lucky then, and I was only in the hospital for a month, and this may seem funny, but it was then that Hannah came to me every day and I simply fell in love with her. Now seriously, what Kushina tells you, you should not tell anyone yet, otherwise there may be problems. Already leaving, Hiyashi added, this is your chance to win her heart again, because common problems can unite, and the fact that she loves you became clear to me from her look. Minato was about to leave when his children ran up to him, Kara and Yumi said at the same time. Good luck, father. And hugging him, they went to meet Hinata, since Karen promised to show them the village. Minato immediately realized that his children would always support him and it seemed that Yumi and Kara would establish relations with their brother very quickly, which made him happy. Well, it's time for the meeting. LX. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. Nine-Tailed Fox Statue Plaza 6:30 p.m. Part 1. Kushina arrived half an hour early, she needed to collect her thoughts. But as always, her son's voice interrupted her. Why did you want to meet him? Naruto asked bluntly. He needs to know the truth, Kushina answered calmly, watching as a miniature Kurama sat on her son's head, his 9 tails hanging down behind him. I want you to be happy and you can give him a chance, I won't stop you but if he hurts you, I don't envy him. And added, turning to his father, do you understand everything, Namikaze Minato? After that, Naruto left without even hearing an answer. Minato smiled and, realizing that he had a chance for reconciliation, he would not miss it. Having handed Kushina her favorite flowers, chrysanthemums, he said that she looked super, a light sundress and loose hair looked great. He was dressed in a suit with a bow tie. She accepted the flowers, a little embarrassed, which caused her to blush, which Minato noticed. Seeing that she could lose control, she quickly said, "You seem to want to know the truth about what happened on the day Naruto and Naruto were born." "Yes," Minato answered briefly. "Okay, I'll tell you, but first, give me a blood oath that you won't tell anyone until the time comes." "Good." And he did everything necessary. He said, "I hope that's all now." "Well, if that's the case, I'll tell you something that even Naruto doesn't know and it will shock you. First, you should know that, first, it was Danzo who organized the attack. Second, Danzo is just an executor, there is someone very powerful behind him and I'll tell you about him, but later. Third, Naruto is. To be continued. From the author. As always, I'm keeping the intrigue. Chapter 10. Commentary on Chapter 10 Bekino. Father and son meeting. Naruto's secrets revealed. Minato's Wrath Part 4. LXI. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. The square near the nine-tailed fox statue Part 2. Well, if that's the case, I'll tell you something that even Naruto doesn't know and it will shock you. First of all, you should know that, firstly, it was Danzo who organized the attack. Secondly, Danzo is just an executor, there is someone very powerful behind him and I'll tell you about him, but later. Thirdly, Naruto is. But Kushina didn't have time to say anything, because Naruto came running and said excitedly. The Cloud Village passed on important information regarding Yugito ni, and on my way to the dungeon I decided that it was worth telling you. Pav. Naruto. Beginning. On the way to the dungeon. There were two people running through the village, a teacher and a student, and it seemed strange that the teacher was a jonin, and his talented student was a kage. Before he started talking to Nagato, he thought about what exactly he should do in this situation. The young Uzumaki ran, he was worried about his mother. Although he had promised not to interfere in his parents' relationship, he was dissatisfied. On the way, he came up with a plan to interfere without deliberately interfering in the conversation. A sly smile appeared on his face from a truly simple and brilliant idea. In order to interfere with them, he simply needed to transmit information from the cloud. After all, Minato should also know this. Naruto's thoughts. Be that as it may, but his daughter and goddaughter were kidnapped, and I simply intervened. If I hadn't done this, I would have greatly regretted it. No matter what I say, Yumi is my little sister and I simply have to protect her, even if we never communicate. But I will think about this later, and now I need to tell Nagato to go himself, and I will go after Minato and mother. Nagato, Naruto addressed him, a little worried. You run on your own, and I'll go get my mother, she's with my father now. Well, damn, I wanted to say with Minato. Haha, I get it, did you really call him father? Basically, as I expected. Nagato said laughing, grinning from Kurama's released tail. If you tell anyone about this then, sadist smile, you'll be doing D-rank missions for the next year, Naruto answered with a laugh. I see, I know you're not joking. It seems to be a family thing, blackmailing, threatening to send Jonin on genin missions, though Kushina-sama threatened for a month, Ashina-sama for a week, and here. You've surpassed everyone, Nagato said offendedly. If you talk too much, I'll give the genin a lift, Naruto said cheerfully before turning towards the square. Nagato said, turning towards the dungeon. Author's note. Everyone in the Whirlpool Village calls the fox by his name only. He even has a special headband seal with the Whirlpool emblem, which can grow with him. Naruto can summon him. Pav. Naruto. On the way to the dungeon. The end. LXII. Whirlpool Country. Whirlpool Village. The square near the nine-tailed fox statue Part 3. So what information? Kushina and Minato asked at the same time, looking at their son and waiting for an answer. Here is the letter, Naruto said, handing the message to his mother. He had interrupted their conversation and was now glad that he had interrupted their communication. This is an urgent letter, that's why it's written like that. Urgent message for the 4th Uzumaki of the village hidden in the Whirlpool Uzumaki Naruto, from the 4th Raikage of the village hidden in the clouds EYA. Dear Uzumaki, I apologize for the incident with the Cloud Shinobi. I assure you that we do not want a war. But as we know, there will always be those who want more. There was a group of shinobi in Cloud Village who were planning something, but I couldn't find out what exactly because all my spies were killed. I, as the Raikage, couldn't allow this to happen, so I decided to declare Yugino ni as a renegade. And because she is a two-tailed Jinsuriki, she was raised to rank S+, with a reward of 150 million ryu. After which, Yugito ni ranked away and gathered those who were supported to help unleash the war between Cloud and Leaf, as well as with their neighbors. The rest of her like-minded people were assigned to rank A. I am thankful to you for eliminating the most dangerous criminals. You will receive a reward of 250 million. I sent a scroll with money along with this. If anyone didn't understand, the scroll with money was sent along with the scroll with the letter. Haha. How do you like it when the Raikage tucks his tail between his legs and tries to make himself look all white and fluffy? Naruto asked, barely holding back his laughter. And I'm very curious why everyone decided that I killed someone. Do I really look so much like the Ruthless Ripper? The former blonde asked with a chuckle. That's true. But what should we do? Minato asked his son. I think we'll talk to Yugito first, and then we'll see. Tomorrow you can call the rest of yours, and I'll also come to go to the dungeon. Today Nagato will drop by to tell about what her village did. Well, I went on a date with Karen, and I'm sorry I ruined the meeting. Naruto said, disappearing and mentally rejoicing and remembering the conversation with Kurama about what to do with Minato if he wanted to meet his mother again. Naruto's memories. Beginning. On a cliff near the sea, Naruto and Kurama watched the sunset and discussed what to do with Minato. On the one hand, Naruto understood that he hated his father, and on the other, he wanted to see his mother happy. He was even ready to forgive his father, but not right away. He was ready to make concessions, but Minato would also have to prove that he was ready to do anything for Kushina. Naruto's thoughts. For that, I will make one demand, and if he agrees, then I will personally persuade Mom to give him a chance. Oh yeah, that's just genius. Let's see what Minato is willing to do for love. Naruto's memory. The end. Minato and Kushina simply watched as their son disappeared and did not even notice that they were holding hands. When Kushina looked into Minato's eyes, she saw a loving look. She herself did not understand what she was doing, and simply bit into his lips. They kissed until they both ran out of air. Afterwards, a blushing Kushina grabbed Minato and dragged him to her home, saying that she had a lot to talk about and that they needed to make up for lost time. Minato was in a pleasant state of shock, with a blissful smile never leaving his face. He obeyed Kushina, not even thinking of objecting. No one noticed the 4 people watching them, although only 3 of them were very happy about it: Kara, Yumi, and Hiyashi. Hiyashi was only unhappy that he had come up with a colossal plan to reconcile them and now he couldn't carry it out. The 4th was a man whose left side of his face and the lower right side were hidden by a mask. The upper right side was broken. He only looked at them with malice and simply disappeared. From the author. Kushina dragged Minato to her home, but only in the morning she remembers that she and Naruto live together. That's when the fun begins. LXC. Unknown place. Castle of Grayskull. A man in a mask with a slit under his right eye waited for instructions. They will start acting soon. It is time to assemble a team to confront them. You said that you have candidates, so go get them and bring them here. I will explain everything myself. The mysterious girl said in a very sweet voice. It will be done, the warrior answered, and seeing that his beloved was standing next to the lady, he smiled under the mask and disappeared. Do you think everything will be okay? The second girl asked worriedly. I hope so, because if they carry out their plans and bring back this, then the world will simply end, the stranger answered excitedly. LXIV. In the depths of the earth. Meeting of a mysterious organization. Part 1. Very deep underground, in a hall surrounded by hot magma, making the place very hot, members of a mysterious organization began to gather. First came a strange man. He looked like Aloe and announced the meeting. The first pair were a hologram of Shimura Danzo and Orochimaru. They had a crossed-out emblem of the leaf on their heads. Immediately after him came a strange guy with a scythe, which had 3 blades. He had a crossed-out emblem on his neck. The second had a mask hiding the lower part of his face, on his head a crossed-out emblem of the waterfall village. The third pair were a blonde with bangs covering his left eye, on his head a crossed-out emblem of the stone and a strange hunchbacked creature of short stature. The fourth were 2 twins of the renegades from the cloud. From the author who I will tell later, the last to appear was the leader Uchiha Izuma. He had long black hair, his left eye was covered with a bandage, on top of which was bangs. So, thank you for coming. You don't have to worry, the rest are busy. Madara's younger brother said in a calm voice. I'll tell you that the main goal of the League of Shadows organization will be to be continued. Note. The League of Shadows consists of renegades. They take the place of Akatsuki. Akatsuki will also be there, but later. Danzo, Itachi's replacement, no one knows the truth about him being a traitor. Cloud Shinobi instead of Nagato and Konan. Uchiha Izuma, instead of Obito. Obito will also be there, but later. You will learn about how Izuna survived, how Otsutsuki Indra is connected to them, what happened to Yahiko and Konan, what the League of Shadows is planning, as the story progresses, which still has many surprises. Chapter 11. Commentary on Chapter 11 Bekino. The Hidden Threat. Naruto's very funny morning, and Minato's not so funny morning. Naruto introduces Kurama to Minato Part 1. Author's note. Minato's acquaintance with Kurama will depend on the circumstances. LXV. In the Depths of the Earth. Meeting of a Mysterious Organization. Part 2. So, thank you for coming. You don't have to worry, the rest are busy. Madara's younger brother said in a calm voice. I will tell you the main goal of the organization, League of Shadows. It will be, to Hidan's delight, the revival of the blood god Great Jashin-sama and the 10 Tails Biju, but for this, first you need to do a lot, for example. 1 inch. My name is Uchiha Izuma, I am Madara's younger brother. Izuma said calmly, tearing off the rest of the mask, where the left whole eye of the Sharengan was, but it was strange that no one even asked why his right eye was completely white. 2 All of you will accept the religion of Jashin-sama, and he will give you immortality, like Hidan, and whoever is against this will die now. 3 We will have to find one sword, Grayskull Sword, and with its help I will be able to not only kill the immortal, but also resurrect my older brother. And I want to say right away that this sword can only be used by the heirs of Otsutsuki Kagaya, so don't even try to use it against me anyway. From the author. Since I don't want to use names from other Naruto fanfics, so that no one will say that I'm stealing ideas, I decided to take the name from my favorite movies, Master of the Universe, The Dark Knight, Terminator, and a couple more. I'll tell you about the rest and the final goal later, but now if you have any questions, ask them and I'll answer them, the leader said calmly. Everyone was shocked by what they heard. Danzo's thoughts. Damn, and I already thought that I could get rid of him, but never mind, at least I can get rid of Minato and Kushina and their scum. Then the strongest Rinnegan, as expected, will be mine, because it already belongs to me. Smiling mentally, Danzo already saw his victory. Orochimaru's thoughts. Once I get immortality, I'll just disappear. And he just licked his lips. Kakuzu's thoughts. This is how much you can earn as an immortal. The organization's accountant thought with a smile, but no one saw it because of the mask. One of the Cloud brothers thought, immortality is what we need, Cloud Village will finally pay for everything. I have a question for you. How did you find out about Jashin-sama, and do you really profess this religion just like me? Hidan asked. I knew you would ask that, that's why. From the author. I simply do not add obscene words to Hidan's speech, so as not to spoil my fanfic, and also what is in the fanfic header, and I did not indicate this, co-author. Well, I think everyone understood what he said laughing face. LXVI. Morning. Naruto Karen and Kushina's house. Kushina woke up from someone hugging her. At first she didn't understand what was going on and, breaking free from the grip, wanted to hit the impudent guy, but then she remembered what was going on. She looked at the one who hugged her, smiled and leaned over to kiss her lover, remembering how yesterday she couldn't hold back and gave free rein to her feelings, which she doesn't regret at all. Kushina's thoughts. She understands that there is a huge problem, her son, although no, her son with Minato will not be able to forgive his father so easily, and if he finds out what happened that day then. Kushina's thoughts were interrupted by her beloved's kiss, which was growing into something more. But they were interrupted by some kind of rumble and the door was instantly broken, and their very angry son was standing in the doorway. He asked the only question. What the hell is that one doing here? He looked into his father's eyes and saw. LXVII. Unknown place. Castle of Grayskala, from the film Master of the Universe. A masked man, sitting at a table, waiting for the kettle to boil. He took off his mask and placed it on the edge of the table, and a white cloak with images of 9 tomes on the back in 3 rows, and above it, Rinnegan. The front also had images of tomes, 3 on each side, under it was a regular mesh shirt and black pants. He began to think about his fight with the unknown and also in a mask. Pav. Memory beginning. Who are you? Why are you following me? Asked the man in white in a strange mask on which there was an image on the entire mask of a crescent and a full moon. You don't need to know this, because you're going to die anyway, but the main thing is that I know who you are. Said the man in black. Really? Well, that's unlikely. And, without waiting for the enemy to attack, I carried out my attack, but hit the mask, after which I saw some plant crawl out of the ground and, having said something to him, they disappeared together. The last thing I saw was the Sharingan. POV. Memory end. LXVIII. Morning. Uzukage's residence half an hour after he caught Minato and Kushina. The young leader sat up all night, sorting through the papers with the report from the academy. After all, the education system was different from others. The main feature was that in the village of the Whirlpool, children from the Uzumaki clan were trained in 2 stages. The first stage from 6 to 9 years old as students of the academy is designed for knowledge. The second stage from 9 to 13 years old is genin with advanced training, ninjutsu, fuinjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, sensory abilities. Also missions within the village, as well as practice in guarding the borders with experienced junin. After graduation, they will receive the rank of chunin. They will be distributed depending on their skills, barrier squad, anbuoinen, and so on. For the rest, the training is the same as in the village of the leaf, with the distinction that here they teach not only theory, but such useless technology as illusion clones is considered a disgrace. After graduation, they will receive genin. While sorting through another piece of paper, an angry girl flew into his office and demanded that he go home and rest, because he had been sitting there all night. She didn't even suspect that the former blonde had been playing shogi with Kurama almost all night, trying to win back. But he couldn't do it quickly. Only in the morning the cunning fox finally decided that if Naruto didn't win at least once he wouldn't leave him alone and, pretending that he wanted to sleep, made a mistake and lost. He reluctantly, but together with his beloved and the either sleepy or hungry fox, went home, not even suspecting what a surprise awaited him. LXIX. The land of the Whirlpool. The village of the Whirlpool. The underground prison. The girl was sitting in a solitary fortified cell, where it was impossible to use chakra, and the connection with her biju was blocked. Although they fed her normally. Yugito's thoughts. She understood perfectly well that the chance of salvation was 0. The Cloud Village would certainly frame everything for themselves. After all, it was their village that kidnapped people for their own purposes, and it would be stupid to make claims in. But her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the door opening, and she saw a red-haired guy there, who was smiling, and simply came up to me and kissed me, after which, saying that she was right and her village shifted all the blame onto her, declaring her the most dangerous apostate, after which he handed her a headband with the emblem of the maelstrom, and also put a ring on her ring finger of her right hand, and said, "I love you, my sweet kitty." LXX. Naruto and Kushina's house. Minato and Kushina's revelation. Part 1. Approaching the house, Naruto felt that inside was the person he wanted to see last. He simply activated the Biju mode and ran with Kurama and, having knocked down the door to his mother's room, saw them covered only with a blanket and angrily said, "What the hell is this one doing here?" And, looking into his father's eyes, he saw there. To be continued. Chapter 12. Commentary on Chapter 12 Bekino. The hidden threat. Naruto's very funny morning, and Minato's not so funny morning. Naruto introduces Kurama to Minato Part 2. LXXI. Naruto and Kushina's house. Minato and Kushina's revelation. Part 2. What the hell is that one doing here? And he looked into his father's eyes, seeing despair and regret there that he had not fought for Kushina. Naruto's thoughts. There is despair in Minato's eyes and he understands it, and when I looked into my mother's eyes, I understand that she loves him very much. I really wanted my mother to be happy, so I won't interfere with her. But I also have to make sure that Minato loves her and will do anything for her. Naruto instantly came up with a plan on how to do this and perhaps even forgive his father, but first he needed to improve his mood. Ha, that's right, let's see how fast yellow lightning is as they say. Haha, I think it'll be fun. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted by Kurama, who began to shake him in the voice of a frightened Minato, who first shouted, "Is this really the Nine Tails?" and simply stared at the 2-meter demon fox, who looked at Kushina, then at Minato and waited with interest for Naruto's actions, from which the fox was in complete shock. Kushina's thoughts. I look at my son and don't see hatred in his eyes, but on the contrary, from his mischievous look, or rather, the look of a sadist, it became clear to me that he had planned some kind of dirty trick on his father, and I myself became interested. But what he did shocked me, as well as Minato himself, who was speechless from a sadistic smile, but his son's next word surprised him even more and I began to laugh, especially after Minato jumped out of the open window barely covered with a blanket. Miserly Minato. Seeing the angry look, I expected a lot, even that Naruto would just throw me out of the house, but then his look changed to a sadistic one. Kushina also noticed this and she just smiled. Oh, if I knew what my son was planning, I would have agreed to be thrown out the window. Naruto told me that he wanted to make sure how fast I was and I had no choice but to agree to play cat and mouse. I immediately realized that I would be the mouse, and at first I thought that the cat would be my son, but how wrong I was. Kushina told me that sometimes our son is just unpredictable, and I was convinced of this, and before jumping out the window I saw Naruto and Kushina laughing, which made me feel somehow warm. Kurama's thoughts. Damn. How did I get myself into all this? And now, instead of breakfast, I have to cheer up Naruto with Minato's participation. Although I liked it, at least I'll work up an even bigger appetite. Well, okay, I see Minato jumped out the window, and these two are falling over laughing, so I followed the legendary Yellow Lightning, who didn't have his sealed kunai with him. Kurama imagined the faces of the people who would see the demon fox chasing the fourth Hokage around the village, which made him laugh too. LXXII. The land of the whirlpool. The village of the whirlpool. The square near the residence. Nagato and Yugito decided that they should first go to Naruto and discuss further actions in relation to her former village, which used her. Most of all, Yugito ni, or more precisely Yugito ni Uzumaki, which she became 8 years ago while she was supposedly on a very long mission, wanted to see her 7-year-old daughter. The fact that she gave birth to a girl in the Cloud Village is not known. After Yugito learned the truth that her parents are not her biological parents, and her relatives were killed by the Third Raikage, after they refused to give up the child in order to make her a Jinchuriki later since she was suitable for this. She also learned that she is not even from the Cloud Village. Nagato and Yugito were so lost in thought that they didn't notice how the cheerful fourth Hokage was running around the village, covered with a blanket, shouting, "I'm not tasty," and a very cheerful nine-tailed fox was running after him, saying, "I want to eat." Naruto was running right after them, shouting that he wouldn't break the door to his mother's room anymore, and Kushina was running after him, but only in a robe with 9 strands of hair raised, shouting, "Wait, you bastard." She intended to give her son a spanking not only for the door, but also for his joke with his father. But Karen was also running after him, wanting to give her beloved one a spanking for causing a stir. Hinata, Yumi and Kiera were running as if it was fun, though Yumi was wondering why her father was covered with a blanket and Kushina-san was in a robe, although she understood everything and was happy. LXXIII. The land of Whirlpool. The village of Whirlpool. The home of Naruto. After several hours of running and having breakfast or already lunch together, in the living room sat Minato with a black eye under his right eye, Naruto and a dissatisfied Kiera, who accidentally got a black eye under his left eye from Yumi. Hinata, Yumi and Yugito, who explained everything to them, and the most dissatisfied Nagato with 2 black eyes, who also accidentally got it from Karen and Kurama, who pushed him and he hit a branch, though the fox cub himself got his fur on his tails a little singed, but he was not dissatisfied, because he was fed rabbit meat. They all waited for Kushina to finally tell the whole truth. Kushina entered the living room and, having plucked up her courage, said, "I actually gave birth to 3 twins, not 2. A boy and 2 girls, 1 girl was killed and the other was saved but." To be continued. The chapter is short, but detailed about the fun battle, about why Kushina arranged a chase. How did Karen, Hinata, Kiera and Yumi end up there? How did Nagato and Yugito get involved in the chase? And also who exactly set Kurama's tails on fire? I'll write about everything in the following chapters. Small spoiler. It will probably be like this. Discussions over lunch before Kushina tells the truth. Chapter 13. Commentary on Chapter 13 Bekino. Kushina's story of the twins' birthday, Naruto and Naruko. Story interrupted. LXXIV. The land of Whirlpool. The village of Whirlpool. Naruto's home. Part 2. I actually gave birth to not 2 twins, but 3. A boy and 2 girls, 1 girl was killed, and the second was saved, but... Damn, it's complicated. Then, unknown people attacked to capture the fox. We later found out who exactly was behind the attack, but the problem is that that person has a lot of influence in his country. Who exactly I can't say yet, but soon we will pass on all the information we have collected. Then, Naruto managed to take Nagato. One of his sisters was simply killed in cold blood, and the second was saved, but Kushina was not allowed to finish by the Jonin, who ran in with a message. Breathing heavily, he still said, "Naruto-sama, there was an attack on the border, 17 people were killed, 50 were wounded. What? Place the village on high alert level and evacuate the civilians. Karen-chan, this is on you. I'm leaving immediately. Mom, stay in charge, Nagato will be with me." "Oh yes, Yugi-chan, I almost forgot, ensure full protection for our guests. Any questions? Well, if not, now. The head of the village gave the order. Yes, Karen said and disappeared. Follow me, said Nagato's beloved. Yumi, Kara and Hinata wanted to say something, but were interrupted by Naruto. I can't take you with me. Forgive me, as much as you'd like to, but you're genin, I don't argue, you're very strong, but you don't have the experience of fighting those who even jonin have a hard time fighting. But why? I just met you in. Tears did not let her finish and she fell silent. Naruto saw that his newly found sister was about to start crying. She was very afraid of losing, so to speak, her older brother. As if something could happen to him. More than anything in the world, the former blonde hated women's tears, and now she, the one who recognized him as a brother, was crying because of him, and because of this, it became somehow unpleasant. Naruto simply came up and hugged her, pressing her to himself, barely holding back his emotions, and told her quietly. Sis, I promise nothing will happen to me, I can't abandon my friends, I have to protect my village and those who are dear to me, you are my little sister, which means I can't let anything happen to you and our brother or Hinata-chan. I promise that when I return, we will have a lot of time to talk. Naruto said calmly and quietly, releasing her from his embrace and kissing her forehead, smiling. He wanted to give the command to Nagato to go, but was interrupted by his father at the wrong time. I will also go, and this is not up for discussion. No, this is a problem of the Whirlpool country, and you are a nobody here yet, so I forbid you to leave the village, because if something happens to you, Danzo will take over the leaf, and then the whole world will be in danger, and you know it very well. Are you really worried about me? Yellow Lightning asked, smiling. I don't know what to do yet, but I know for sure that my mother will suffer without you, and for the sake of her happiness I am ready to forgive even you, but on one condition, but I will tell you about it when I return. He winked at his father and, smiling, grabbed Nagato and disappeared before he got it from his mother, whose braids rose 9 strands. Hinata didn't know what to do when she heard how worried Naruto was about her. Okay, Hinata-chan, Yumi-chan, let's go, he's right, we can't help. Said Namikaze Jr. Minato, I know you're going anyway, so please look after our son. Bloody Habanero asked, and whispered in his ear that he would have a very stormy night, after which he would see the endurance of the Uzumaki clan, although he himself would not be able to move. Well, you suggested it yourself. Having kissed her, he also hugged the children and before leaving, he saw their approval and smile, and a quiet request to return their brother alive. LXXV. The Land of Whirlpool. Clash at the Border. Nagato, Naruto, and Minato vs. Orochimaru, Kinkaku, and Ginkaku. Part 1. Naruto and Nagato arrived at the scene and saw the statue of 1,000 hands summoned by Senju Uzumaki Nawaki, grandson of Senju Hashirama and Uzumaki Mito confronting a huge purple snake and 2 grinning missing nin from the Cloud Village. The Whirlpool shinobi continued to hold off the onslaught, realizing that without a miracle they won't last long, but seeing Uzukage in his right hand, they realize that here he is, this miracle, and now realizing that it will be very hot now, and if they summon him then. Brr, it's scary to imagine what will happen. Hey, well, the head of the red-haired village himself. Orochimaru said with a mocking voice, not paying attention to Nawaki's attack in Sannin mode, for which he almost lost his head. Your opponent is me, said Sannin of the Whirlwind. Naruto, without thinking twice, attacked the golden of the brothers, and Nagato got the silver, but it was more of a 2-on-2 fight. Nagato started the attack with the wind element, knowing that the brothers mainly use lightning, but he was more concerned about the weapon, the treasure of the sage. Naruto, knowing that he was immune to this weapon, attacked openly, which the opponents did not expect. Nagato and Naruto forced the 2 brothers from the cloud into close combat. They did not expect and could not even use ninjutsu, let alone weapons. And then the onslaught became very strong and the Whirlpool shinobi were able to take the treasures of Rakuto and Naruto sealed them, and then gave the signal for everyone to retreat back. Nawaki cancelled the summoning, and the Sannin mode dried up and he stood behind Naruto and Nawaki to somehow recover from the fight. Nawaki just watched them. Fire element through Naruto, Gaku Mekaku, a huge fireball flew at the 3 Nukenin. Wind element, storm breath, the air flow ate with the fireball, headed for the enemies. The 3 renegades understood that they saw this beautiful and terrible sight, and that they might not survive if they did not use their last trump card. But they could not think for long. A huge explosion occurred, from which a very strong earthquake of 9.5 points occurred, which was felt even in the countries of earth, wind, swamps, fire and others. Naruto protected his own, but looked at the enemies, and was in shock. And then he heard his father's frightened voice. How is this PP possible? Minato was probably scared for the first time. Not only he, but also the Whirlpool Shinobi understood that now things could be bad for everyone without exception. Everyone saw. To be continued. Chapter 14. Commentary on Chapter 14 Bekino. Chapter 14 Uzumaki Clan Patrons. Help on the Way. Part -1. LXXVI. The Land of the Whirlpool. The Village of the Whirlpool. Dungeons Ancient Temple. Two people were discussing what to do, because the enemy had started to act earlier than they expected. The first looked like an old monk of about 70 years old. He was wearing a white haori decorated with a tome on the sides, had a beard and a wise look, and strange balls were flying behind him. The second was younger and looked about 30 to 35 years old. But in fact, he was much older, dressed in red armor, had long black hair with a fringe over his right eye, and an absolutely indifferent look. We need to go and help Naruto. He can't handle it on his own, because he's not ready, the monk said. Okay, but are you sure that my disclosure won't make things worse? Asked the second, and he thought that this was a chance to find someone to dance with. No matter how you look at it, a fight can be called a dance. After all, it's not so easy to practice on Naruto now, and this monk constantly meditates. Don't worry, it's unlikely that anyone will have any complaints, especially since as soon as everything is settled, we will disappear from this world, and only a few people will remember us. I really hope that I can finally atone for my sins and leave with a pure soul in order to see my friend and beloved, one of the young leader's teachers said with a smile, hoping that Kurama wouldn't swallow him up, since he was still offended by that incident, considering that more than a decade had passed. No one expected that another person would appear, one that ordinary mortals could only see once, hoping that this meeting would be as late as possible. It was a translucent ghost in a hooded robe. Don't worry, everything will be fine, as I promised, I will lift my curse, but first help your descendants save the world. And in general, I don't understand you, because you mortals dream of eternal life and youth, and you consider it a curse, but as I promised, I will free you. Still, I don't understand you mere mortals. Okay, tell Naruto, let him call me. Since the enemies accepted the religion of Jashin, it seems to them that they have become immortal, but they are mistaken, the ghost said in a surprisingly calm voice, but for some reason it made Naruto's teacher even more afraid. A terrible earthquake distracted them from their conversation. And everyone's thoughts were, what the hell was that? Okay, we don't have time to chat with you, respected Shinigami. We need to go to his aid, try to destroy less than the enemies will destroy, the monk said in a normal tone and added a little more sternly, do you understand Madara-kun? Yes sir, Hagoromo-sensei-sama, Madara replied, disappearing, making even the Shinigami himself laugh. It was fun, but I also have to go, I'll wait until I'm called, said the ghost and disappeared. I need to go get some tea, but first I need to go see Kushina, she still thinks Naruto doesn't know anything about the second sister, I hope she won't be offended. Too much has fallen on them. And I hope the earthquake didn't scare anyone. LXXVII. The Land of the Whirlpool. The Seaport. Thoughts. It's so nice to take a break from these damn papers. I've wanted to visit Naruto-kun for a long time, although now I have to call him Naruto-sama. Or no, I'll call him Naruto-sama at the official meeting, but now I'm just a tourist Yagura who wants to take a break, and I hope that my guards, who were imposed on me, won't interfere. You see, the elders said, we'll let you rest if there's guards nearby. An earthquake distracted him from his thoughts. What was that? A shocked Yagura asked his guards, using his water elemental techniques in time and helping Uzumaki stop the tsunami. How do we know? The bodyguards, who turned out to be the swordsman Momochi Zabuza and his student Yuki Haku, said in unison. Okay, we need to help Naruto quickly before it's too late. I feel like something terrible has started, the fourth Mizukage ordered. Yes, the escorts answered and ran. LXXVIII. Unknown place. Castle of Grayskala, from the film Master of the Universe. All 12 people sitting at the large round table felt an energy that indicated a powerful earthquake. Satobi and Minako, Ashura, Tonari, Momoshiki, you will go to help Naruto. Indra, go and watch their next moves. Hamura take Konan, Yahiko and Rin and go see the sarcophagus. Kinshiki, help me with my manicure and paint my nails. Author's note. I almost fell off my chair here. No matter how you look at it, Kagaya is a woman and should take care of herself and look stunning, even if she is a goddess. Poor Kinshiki. Execute, the goddess shouted, so loudly that no one dared to argue. Laughing to himself, Kinshiki thought that his task would be the most difficult one. To be continued. Chapter 15. Commentary on Chapter 15 Bekino. Chapter 15. Uzumaki Clan Patrons. Help on the Way. Part 2. Danzo's Escape. L6. The Land of Fire. The Village of the Hidden Leaf. Hiruzen's thoughts. Considering the situation, the Leaf Village was preparing for war, it was impossible to let it slide. The Cage of the Sand and Rock Villages wrote that the rakeage crossed the line and must be punished. No matter how you look at it, but the murders of border guards in the land of geysers who demanded documents for the rite of passage are very serious, and on top of that, the prince was killed. A letter came from the land of water that they would participate because they have an agreement with the land of whirlpool to protect the land of geysers. And now, as always, the elders demanded that everything be cancelled. And then Danzo came again, or rather, burst into my office, and again begins to demand something. I can barely hold on to not give the order to capture him. Fortunately, the feudal lord signed the decree, all that remains is to wait for Minato. I look at the face of my now former friend, distorted with anger. Although I think I can listen to him one last time, I look him straight in the eye and wait for what he needs again. Hiruzen, I'm asking you for the last time, and thank me for asking, make Minato cancel the mobilization, and if you don't, then, but the main intriguer was interrupted by the calm voice of the third Hokage. So what are you going to do? Hiruzen asked, thinking that he would have to act without Minato, and secretly gave a special command to his Anbu to begin the capture and elimination operation. Shimura was surprised that they dared to interrupt him, not even knowing that his dealings with the rakeage were already known. And most importantly, he completely forgot about his two accomplices, whom the feudal lord had summoned. And Danzo himself completely forgot that they had not returned yet, not even knowing that they would not return, and his people would have definitely reported if there was danger. You have no idea what I'm capable of, Hiruzen. Remember, I'll still get my way, and Minato won't be sitting in my Hokage chair for long. Something tells me that he won't return from the Whirlpool village, and then no one will stop me from blaming them and returning to me what this rebel clan stole from me. But I will still spare their lives if they swear allegiance to me and do what I tell them to. Otherwise, if they suddenly refuse, then each of them will die very slowly and painfully, the creator of Root Anbu said with a grin, and wanted to continue, but his old friend showed no emotion at all, remained calm, which angered him even more, but he still indignantly added, Hiruzen, I see that you have completely lost your fear, although it seems that it is useless to tell you anything. As soon as Homura and Kaharu return from the feudal lord, they will immediately declare me the fifth Hokage, and the Jonin will have no choice but to recognize me, and those clans that go against me will bitterly regret it. But he was interrupted in an impudent, in the opinion of the speaker, manner and forced to remain silent, from which his, as it were, only eye, widened so much that it seemed about to pop out of its socket. Silence. Now you will listen to me. You know, Danzo, I wanted to postpone this matter until Minato returned. But you forced me to do everything now. So, here is a letter from the feudal lord, read it yourself, the former Hokage said with a smile, to which Shimura did not pay attention. Shimura took the letter and opened it, what was written infuriated him even more. Shimura Danzo. I, the feudal lord of the Fire Country, have learned of your crimes against the Leaf Village and the entire Fire Country. In this regard, I accuse you of treason. 2 of your accomplices who were plotting with you to prepare for the coup have already been arrested and are awaiting trial, although everything has been proven by numerous facts. Titus Mead too. After reading the letter, he was first angry, and then he suddenly began to laugh like crazy. After laughing a little, he said, Hiruzen, do you really think that I came here alone? Then you are a real idiot. After all, old age takes its toll. If I do not leave here, then my people will kill everyone they meet on their way, the traitor said with a nasty smile. But suddenly he became very quiet, as he could not feel his people near the residence, although several people from his guard were standing outside the door. But most importantly, he realized that all his people were still at the base, and around the residence there were a lot of Anbu under the command of Minato and many Jonin. Danzo's thoughts. He realized that he had rushed, but now they couldn't kill him, and he needed to get out of the barrier, and he was lucky that he heard many explosions, and his ally appeared in the residence to help him. But first, he said, that he is a beast without brains, that the owner is in a rage, after which we began to dive into the portal. It's a pity that no one will save his people. After all, they were loyal pawns, although this is no longer important. Before disappearing, he looked at his friend, who could not move because of the seal of paralysis and still decided to say the last word. Hiruzen, this is not the end, the next meeting will be your last, and the village of the leaf awaits judgment day. After these words he disappeared. To be continued. From the author, if anyone doesn't know, this is the name of the Emperor of Tamriel in the game, Skyrim. I'm currently going through the Dark Brotherhood quest, killing the Emperor. For the first time, I decided to go through the TB, and not destroy him, because it was not easy to install a mod to revive the TB. Chapter 16. Commentary on Chapter 16 Bekino. Chapter 16. Uzumaki Clan Patrons. Help on the Way. Part 3. Pain in the Heart. LXXX, the Land of Whirlpool. On the way to the battlefield. Madara's thoughts. Well, I'm in a hurry to help my descendant, and it's not even about the fact that I will receive forgiveness for the mistakes of the past and this curse will be lifted, not at all. I myself want to help him, my blood flows in Naruto and the blood of the only one I loved, love and will love even in the afterlife. After all, this secret, which is that Kushina is my great-granddaughter, is known to very few people. I remember how we met, it was my strangest behavior, and the only one who saw it was Izuna. Pa Uchiha Madara beginning. Izuna, you're an idiot. I should have listened to you and gone down this path, the young head of the Uchiha clan said to his younger brother with too much displeasure. Don't grumble like you're 70 years old instead of 17, and anyway, I thought you weren't against going for a walk in the forest. Asked Tajima's youngest son. Firstly, I'm not grumbling, and secondly, I don't want those damn senju to attack us. Unfortunately, they are good at hiding in places like this, and thirdly, But he couldn't finish because he heard a girl scream and, without thinking, ran to help. When my brother and I approached the scene of the incident, we still did not dare to come closer so as not to be noticed, then we saw a beautiful stranger sitting near a tree. Next to her stood 10 bulls, you can't call them anything else, and their disgusting faces immediately showed all their intentions regarding this girl. Their conversation enraged me, I had never been so angry. But something happened to my eyes, I long for their death. Hey, Danso-sama, look, we got 2 bitches from this damn clan, I think we can play with them a little before they die. But my youngest, I want something new, said a one-eyed thug of about 20 years old with a lewd grin. I don't mind, but I think that others will also join you, but this one, he pointed at the older one, is only mine, Danso said and began to approach the 2 girls. That was enough to attack, they were so self-confident that they did not notice my attack. I killed the 2 in the back so that the others did not understand anything. I told Izuna that as soon as I distracted them, he should take the girls and go to that wounded boy with whom my brother had chatted and then told me that they were ghouls from the Shimura clan. I looked at this beautiful girl and noticed how her eyes said, "Save me." I also realized that she was covering the younger one. They both looked very similar to each other. Both had beautiful long hair, cute angelic faces, perfectly straight noses, charming eyes. From the look of the older stranger, my heart began to beat like a bird caught in a snare. But the younger one turned out to be unconscious, and this is for the best, because she will not see what I was going to do. I hope that this beautiful angel will not be afraid of me. I started to lose my temper again and felt blood suddenly flow from my eye, immediately seeing 6 people start to burn in black fire. The remaining 2 heard the dying screams and turned around to see what was happening. I noticed that this Danso was just frozen in horror, and could not say a word, unlike the second one, who confidently said, "Listen, who are you that you dared to interfere with the Shimura clan and attack the heir? However, it does not matter. Now I will kill you very slowly, you are unlucky." Even the head of the clan admitted that my genjutsu is the strongest. The exception is the illusions of the Uchiha, so do not hope for a quick death. I will immerse you inside, and you will see your own fears. Well, how is it? Are you happy to see them? Ha ha ha. The bully cackled disgustingly, thinking that he had won. He wanted to talk to the heir, but my voice interrupted him. Did you do anything? This is impossible. How did you? After all, no one has ever been able to get out of my illusion of fear. The only one who could try is one of the Uchiha, but he saw them. These eyes, they are not like what they said about them, he was very scared. Well, since you saw my eyes, then take into account. Firstly, you were the one who was unlucky, after all, my name is Uchiha Madara. Secondly, you and your ghouls became the first lucky ones on whom I used them, and thirdly, you will now join your friends, Madara said harshly, after which he was covered in black flames. By the way, as for you, so be it, your fate will be decided by the family of these girls, and now go to sleep. And as for you, you can go out, don't be afraid, I won't harm you, the young leader said wearily, and saw a guy of about 20 years old walking towards him, with a girl of about 8 or 9 years old sitting on his back, and she, a girl of rare beauty, was walking next to them. She looked at him smiling, there was no fear in her eyes, only gratitude. Her friend's gaze also shone with gratitude for the timely help. By the way, I didn't introduce myself, my name is Eeeeee. My name is Yumiha Mabara, Eeeeee. No, damn, my name is Uchi. But was interrupted by his brother's laughter. Ha ha ha, forgive me, my brother's ha-he is his first time. Ha ha ha, I am Uchiha Izuma, and this one, he pointed at his brother, who had hearts in his eyes, is called Madara, but you can call him. But he couldn't finish, because he fell from fatigue. Thoughts. A couple of hours later I woke up, or rather, I thought a couple of hours had passed. I saw other representatives of the clan of girls, but I didn't feel any aggression from them, but, on the contrary, care. When I asked how long I had been lying there, some guy of about 30 or 35 years old answered that it had been almost 2 weeks, strangely, but he looked a bit like his angel. I was distracted from my thoughts by the girl's voice, and here I saw again this beautiful angel who had conquered my heart. She decided to introduce herself, finally I will know her name. My name is Pav, Uchiha Madara, the end. But he was distracted from his memories, and it was unlikely that these three could be called friends. The first one stood and watched, holding a scythe with 3 blades on his shoulder with a grin. Next to him was a big guy in a mask, and only his green eyes were visible through the slit, and the third one was on some kind of bird. Thoughts. Damn, I can't give myself away here. I'll have to use the gift and pretend to be Uzumaki using the Rinnegan. The main thing is not to get caught early. Luckily, this mask can't be broken that easily. Well, guys, life or so vanguard, haha just kidding, I see you want to dance. And he smiled under his mask. To be continued. Chapter 17. Commentary on Chapter 17 Bekino. Chapter 17 Uzumaki clan patrons. Help is on the way. Part 4. First aid has arrived. LXC. The land of the whirlpool. Battle on the border. How is this PP possible? Minato was probably scared to such an extent for the first time. And not only he, but also the shinobi of the maelstrom understood that now things could be bad for everyone without exception. Everyone saw how in place of the 3 criminals appeared a huge white snake and 2 monsters with 4 tails, which resembled the demon fox's cloak. Minato immediately remembered what they told about the Kin-Jin brothers. Gold and silver were swallowed by the fox itself, and now they are using this power to the fullest. It seemed that everyone present began to panic, but there was one whose face did not even change. It was his recently found son, and the most interesting thing was that he did not even think about hiding. Naruto seemed to be waiting for this. This became clear from his sly grin. Here he is, a true leader who will not hide behind the backs of others, but is the first to go into battle. When everyone saw the 2 Biju bombs flying at them, they thought that was the end. At that moment, even Naoki and Nagato completely forgot about Naruto's trump card. Very few people knew about it. It was what allowed Naruto to gain the full power of the Rinnegan. The Biju bombs were not only stopped, but were redirected into the snake, and very successfully. The huge white samurai warrior successfully protected everyone with his huge shield, and the blow of the huge sword was even more sudden. It was unexpected for Minato that now in his son's eyes there was a Mangekyo Sharingan, and a very unusual one. It is directly connected to his Rinnegan. In the center is a drawing that resembles Uchiha Madara's native Mangekyo before he put his brother's eyes on himself, and in the other circles there are 3 volumes. Ha 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 ha. Surrender. We are immortal now, you have no chance, the great Jashin has given us his patronage, the brothers shouted, return your appearance. Never. He put away his Susanoo. Since Jashin gave you patronage, then I will show you my patron, and began to fold strange seals. Then he appeared, the one who is feared by all living things. A translucent ghost in a cassock, his face hidden by a hood, in his hand was a sword with skulls near the hilt. Nagato already understood from the next action that his student was very angry, since he decided to summon the patron of the clan. Naruto, Shinigami take you, what the hell did you call me for? I have things to do, there are a lot of people, and I am only one. And even if no one is waiting for me except you, I have to be everywhere. My messengers cannot take the souls of those whose time has come. The ghost said this in a voice as if he was about to cry. So, in general, what do you need? Although I can guess myself that it is because of the problems that my former messenger created again. That is why I brought my sword, but give it back, otherwise she will. In general, even I am afraid to imagine what will happen to me if I lose this sword. Even if you lose it, I will still be the one to get it, the ghost asked and gave the sword to Naruto, after which he quickly retreated. Hey, people, why are you looking like a Shinigami has come for you? Minato-san, don't worry so much, it will be scary when his wife shows up in a bad mood. Okay, let's strangle this dung worm, turning towards the enemies and pointing a sword at them, saying, it's time to send you to hell, bastards. A fog appeared on the battlefield, something rumbled immediately, and the white snake appeared again. He did not like that his own people attacked him. His actions surprised everyone, after all, he attacked his allies. The only one who understood what was going on was Naruto. A disgruntled voice, similar to a child's, sounded throughout the field. Naruto, why did I get myself into trouble when I just want to visit you? This will definitely become a tradition soon, although it's better than sitting and going through reports. The only downside is that if May finds out that I fought instead of resting, it's scary to imagine what will be waiting for me at home. I hope the village won't have to choose a new head, said a displeased voice. Don't grumble like an old man, Onoki, as if you're not 25 but 70, but you can't even imagine how glad I am to see you, Mizukage-sama. Naruto said with a smile, and added, Yagura, Aesop will need help. By the way, is the Snow Princess here? While laughing and dodging the Senbuu that were flying at him from the offended Haku. But the enemy decided to attack and their attack was noticed and dodged. Minato was hit by demonic poisonous chakra. Naruto saw this and ran up emotionally screaming, Father, no. Tears revealed his true feelings for his father. Naruto ran up to him and started screaming that he shouldn't dare die, and that he couldn't do something mean to his beloved again by just dying stupidly like that. He promised that if he died, he would resurrect him. After all, he had connections to do it and then strangle him himself or let Kushina do it. Naruto was really angry, but he still noticed the sage weapons in their hands, and how good that they were useless against Naruto. He, having made sure that his father's life was not in danger, again hid his emotions under the cover of Yagura with Aisapu and Zabuza with Haku, who covered everything in fog, trapped the Kin-Jin brothers in an ice trap, who were so distracted that they did not notice how the sage weapons were taken from them. That the brothers did nothing helped to get out, and when the silver of the brothers, feeling how he was pierced by a sword, the last thing he saw was that his golden brother was being approached from behind, but he could not tell him, because he felt how his soul was slowly leaving his body. The golden did not have time to do anything, he suddenly stopped feeling his brother, but how is that possible? Unless, that sword, but he did not have time to finish the thought, as he saw that a bloody sword was sticking out of his chest. And his last thoughts were that he and his brother were deceived. Everyone felt that a team with very powerful chakra was approaching them, no one knew if they were friends or enemies. They also felt that another fight was taking place, Nawaki and Nagato, hoping that the evil sensei, Nawaki gave Madara the nickname, and Nagato picked up on it and also called him that. Jiraiya only taught Yahiko and Konan, and only met Nagato a few times, would be able to win himself without giving himself away. To be continued. Chapter 18. Commentary on Chapter 18 Bekino. Chapter 18. Uzumaki Clan Patrons. Help on the Way. Part 5 The Path to Vengeance. LXXXII. The Land of the Whirlpool. On the way to the battlefield. Minako always dreamed that she would finally return to her brother and mother, who were and will always be dearer to her than anyone else in the world. Even though she was raised and brought up by Otsutsuki Kagaya, the greatest goddess, even as a child, considering her mother, she felt that there was some secret connected with her birth. When the time came to tell her the whole truth, and the girl understood everything, she still decided to call Kagaya mom, despite the fact that she also called her mom during a rare meeting with Kushina. The funniest thing is that Kushina does not even realize that she met her brother, which she does not regret. Only now she decided that she needed to punish the person who dealt a fatal blow to her sister and wounded her. And so Minako decided, considering that the battlefield had become quiet, that she could leave. Ashura-na-san, I have some unfinished business, I can't hold back any longer, I have to punish that person who. She couldn't finish her speech, as she was picked up and hugged, and her tears showed that this was really tormenting her. Go, but don't give in to the darkness, I beg you, little sister. I know you very well, you can overdo it, so let Momo go with you. The youngest son of Hagoromo looked tenderly at the one who became his sister. Momo, go with her, as I know the Shimura, Mitokado and Udatane clans live on the same territory, so it will be easier. And make sure she doesn't do anything stupid and But he didn't have time to finish because he heard a terrifying roar not far from their destination. Obi, Yi, Tobi, teleport to your relative and help, and Tonari and I will follow. And the fourth Mizukage Yagura is going to help Naruto-kun, but your relative may give himself away earlier than expected, Ashura explained. I see, as I understand it, the enemy decided to act earlier. Damn, then, those who went to check the sarcophagus could be in danger. Rin's beloved asked worriedly. Don't worry, Uncle Hamura will protect them, but the evil Indra, from the author, only Ashura calls him evil because of his eternally gloomy look, to which he at least smiles a little, while calling him a clown in response and promising to quarter him, will give a signal if anything happens. Then we'll meet there, he said as he disappeared into the spatial funnel. LXXXIII. The land of the whirlpool. The village of the whirlpool. Kushina was restless. She felt that her son had summoned a guardian, thinking that the situation was more dangerous than one could immediately think. Hiyashi and Shikaku were nearby and were also waiting for news, despite the fact that Nara had long since slept like a baby, but Hiyashi could not even think about sleep. Now his godson Naruto, along with his friend Minato were fighting together, and he was sitting here instead of covering their backs. Kushina, I can't do this anymore. I understand that they won't lose so easily, but I'm very worried. It's not because of that incident when Nagato came to the Leaf with an ambassador, and stayed in my house, and at night saved my Hinata from being kidnapped by the cloud. Although the Raikage demanded that I be handed over as punishment and compensation, even the elders were for it, but the cloud ambassador was alive and released. Then Danzo was interested in what right the Uzumaki decided to shelter the Hyuga, and how Nagato ended up in the heiress's room. He didn't like the answer that it was none of his business, so I hinted that if he talked too much, I would accuse him of plotting to kidnap her. Nagato told me then that he met one of the Hyuga and asked where his room was. But even when he told him, he still managed to get lost. I found it funny then. By the way, where did the young people go? Hyuga asked, worried that his daughter looked strange, especially after Naruto left. Karen took Hinata and Yumi. They probably went to Yugito to have a secret talk and help her with her daughter, and Kara went with Inoichi to see how Ibiki would have fun interrogating the fighter from Root. Meanwhile, the girls. Karen, tell me about my brother, I really want to. Although not only me. Well, and Hinata to know about him, Yumi asked with a sly smile, to which Hinata blushed like a tomato, and Karen simply looked at Hinata with a smile and understood everything. It seems to me that Naruto will tell more about himself, although, considering that you saw the performance, I can tell you a little. So then. LXXXIV. The land of fire, the village of the leaf. The young genin were slightly wounded, but were very glad to be alive. How are you guys? Is everyone alive? Asked the blonde. Alive, Sasuke, Sakura, Kiba, Shino, Tenten-Choji and Shikamaru answered in chorus. Where are Neji and Lee? I haven't seen them. The brunette immediately became worried. They are with Gai-san, the stranger answered. To which the young shinobi jumped up and howled from the pain of their wounds and looked around to see who had scared them so much. Damn, Itachi, I'll attach a bell to you so you don't scare me anymore, Ino said with resentment, continuing to heal the wound of Sasuke, who she had knocked out, who noticed his brother, and after he laughed, she hit him in the forehead. Okay, enough complaining. Your wounds are light, they can be healed quickly. Now to business. We are all leaving for the Whirlpool village tomorrow at dawn. Neji and Lee know about this, Itachi said, hoping that the destruction of the three clans that are planning a coup will not attack civilians before, and the youth will not see how even children will be killed. But no one guessed that the most terrible work of preventing the coup would be done instead of them. To be continued. Chapter 19. Commentary on Chapter 19 Bekino. Chapter 19 Patrons of the Uzumaki clan. Help on the way. Part 6 Blood Feet. Part 1. LXXXV. The land of the whirlpool, the village of the whirlpool. After Naruto left to meet with the enemies, Kushina did not sit idle. She received a letter from the Hidden Leaf, and she realized that it was time to solve the matter that she had postponed for more than 15 years at the request of one person. And now the signal was given that it was necessary to act, and Ashina-sama would remain in the village. I understand that you decided to do this right now. Tell me, Hiyashi, what can I do when my son is in danger again? Although the Uzumaki clan is tenacious, we are not immortal, although I think that you yourself would not mind participating, especially after he simply gave your daughter to the enemies, and not for the first time, the red-haired girl said, holding back tears from what she had to do. Okay, do as you wish. By the way, I can't tell Hinata that she and Naruto, whom I noticed she really liked, are practically engaged, but according to the laws of the Uzumaki clan, in addition to her, Naruto must have a wife from the Uzumaki clan. As I understand it, Naruto told me that he agrees if she agrees, and that he will make her happy. I understood that he really liked Hinata, but for some reason he is afraid to show his emotions outside the clan, said the head of the clan, realizing that he himself tries not to show emotions in front of those he doesn't know well. You don't have to worry, I'll talk to her when I get back and explain, she'll understand everything. Moreover, Hinata liked it here, and the fact that Naruto saved her twice before, it will be interesting for her to know. And before that, her clan will move here according to the agreement that Hashirama signed, and I just made sure that it came into effect. Okay, it's time for me to go, Minato's beloved said and disappeared. LXXXVI. Land of Fire, Leaf Village. Inside the stone monument. Under cover of night, a meeting of two unknown persons. I will begin to act tonight, and you must not interfere, as you promised 15 years ago, said a female voice. Yes, I remember everything, and I wrote to you myself, I just ask you to do it quickly, and I will make sure that everything looks like the liquidation of the rebels. I made sure that Fugaku, Kakashi and Hazashi covered you, and no one will know about your fate, said a man who was not young, judging by his voice. Don't worry, I will have assistants, they will arrive and we will begin, and you, Hiruzen-sama, it would be better to return so as not to arouse suspicion. Don't worry, Kushina-chan, I understand everything. What they did then is unforgivable. Thank you for listening to me and waiting so long, because it can practically be considered a vendetta, a blood feud, because it is permissible. Kushina, back then, 15 years ago, I didn't just ask you to give me time, I had to do it when they lost their authority. After all, if you had attacked the Leaf and killed them, it could have led to great unrest within the village and attacks by other villages. Many people still supported them then, and as you understand, it could have worked against your beloved Minato, but we can't wait any longer, Danzo has escaped, Kaharu and Homura are awaiting execution, and their clans want a coup. Memory. Starting more than 15 years ago, October 12th, 2 days after Naruto, Naruko and Minako were born. The delegation from the Whirlpool village arrived in the capital of the Land of Fire to the feudal lord, not being very friendly, providing evidence and demanding not to interfere. The feudal lord himself looked at all the evidence and understood everything, because in essence it can be considered that Danzo, on behalf of the Leaf Village, declared war on another country, which can easily capture or destroy the entire Land of Fire. The reason that they infiltrated was because access to the Whirlpool village was only for allies from the Leaf. But no one wanted real combat, and by chance the previous Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was visiting the feudal lord, who decided to visit his son Asuma. Sarutobi Asuma is a ninja protector. He was at that meeting, where a lot was decided. Kushina-sama, I understand everything, but you should also understand that right now you shouldn't act like this, they have influence and it can harm not only Minato, but also your friends. But if you demote him, then no one will respect them, although it may take at least 8 to 10 years, but maybe more, so that your son can protect himself. Hiruzen said, realizing that his old friends had gone too far. Hiruzen-sama, I understand everything, but I can't just decide for myself, because even though I'm the leader, I can't cancel this decision, because I'll make myself look like a coward, and that's what Danzo is waiting for, Kushina said, mentally celebrating her victory, because Hiruzen will now definitely fulfill her conditions, remembering the advice. Kushina's POV at the emergency meeting. Beginning. After the attack, allegedly by unknown people, 15 people died among them and little Naruko, the second girl is considered missing, although only a few people knew the truth. There was a meeting, and at it, a young mother was weakened, next to whom was a 10-year-old boy Nagato, looking after 2 babies, recently born Naruto and his 3-month-old sister. After all, the parents of Nagato and little Karen, that was the name of the girl, who were doctors, died. Many suggested wiping the Leaf Village off the face of the earth or simply capturing it. Fortunately they have not only Kurama, but also the fact that Shinigami himself is on their side, who can only be summoned by Uzumaki or those who have undergone the ritual, but there are others. The debate continued for a long time, until the second Uzumaki suggested that little Nagato also have his say. It was exactly what Nagato proposed that everyone liked. As he said, we need to scare them and they will definitely ask to settle everything without bloodshed, but not to forgive the guilty, but to wait a little. And we will agree, but we will set some conditions. And then I propose the condition that we will set. Kushina's POV at the emergency meeting end. Okay, we are ready to make concessions. But we have conditions, and if you refuse, then the whole world will know that the top of the hidden leaf attacked the allied village of Whirlpool behind the Hokage's back and that we took this as an announcement of war and will strike back, Kushina said coldly. Some of the feudal lord's advisors began to be indignant, saying, how dare they set conditions, and even threaten war. But one person from the delegation decided to interrupt and remind them that they had a nine-tailed fox. He could not say the name. After all, no one except the Uzumaki themselves, and those whom the fox himself could trust, are not worthy of knowing his name. After that, everyone in the hall fell silent. Everyone understood that this was already serious. After all, this clan still had many secrets. They had no other choice but to agree to their conditions. Maybe if someone didn't understand, then I'll repeat once again that it was the actions of the Leaf Ninja who attacked the Whirlpool village that give me the right to retaliate. All the evidence has been provided. What else don't you understand? You know the saying. When the enemy attacks, the empire strikes back. Think for yourself. I'll repeat once again. We don't want war, but we can't turn a blind eye to it either. Oh, I almost forgot. By decision of the council, the Whirlpool village will not supply new seals and you can still consider this a humane decision, and you, Hiruzen-san, can pass it on to your council. So, are there any other complaints? Well, let's go ahead and close the borders not only for the Leaf Ninja, but also cut off the trade route through the Whirlpool country, Kushina said in an angry voice that sent a chill down the spines of not only the feudal lord's advisors, but also the ninja defenders, although the feudal lord himself remained calm for some reason. There was complete silence in the hall. They didn't want to anger the scarlet-haired ones and they understood that they were right, so they simply nodded their heads. Since there are no more claims, then I will continue. So our condition is this. Back when Uzumaki Mito married Hashirama Senju, they signed one treaty, which said that the Hyuga clan would move to the village of the Whirlpool and the entire council agreed then, but because of the war, the village of the Leaf did not fulfill its part, and with the advent of the likes of Mitokado Homura, Udatane Kaharu and Shimura Danzo, she said these three names furiously, no one was going to fulfill this treaty anymore. I would not be surprised if they were looking for it to destroy. Therefore, we want them to move after this time. The feudal lord himself knew about this agreement, because he has one of the copies, and he cannot forbid any clan to move to live in another place, so he simply confirmed it. Hiruzen did the same, because this agreement cannot be broken, otherwise everything that the Uzumaki left in the leaf, they have the right to take away, and this is a loss of knowledge, seals from the Uzumaki, because in other countries, although they study FUNN, but even the students of the academy of the village of Whirlpool will have stronger seals than the Jonin from other villages, and even the cage will not be able to create a stronger seal. After the meeting, a smiling Hiruzen approached Kushina and asked, Kushina, I'm 99% sure that you didn't intend to start a war, but simply decided that the guilty would be handed over to you and your conditions would be fulfilled, and as for this agreement, I can say that it was brilliant. You, Kushina, really know how to negotiate, when you need to threaten, and when you need to set conditions. That's a real talent. And you know, it seems to me that you would be a better Hokage than Minato. He can't talk like you. And I'm sure, your son will become a wonderful leader, a strong warrior, like his parents. I promise that I won't tell Minato anything, but he will find out everything one day, so I ask that when that day comes, just talk to him, because you will never stop loving him, Hiruzen said with a smile. Well, who knows, Hiruzen-sama, what exactly we have planned for the negotiations, but you still have 1% of doubt. But in that we do not wish evil to anyone, I think we have proven. After all, not everyone should be responsible for the actions of several people. I hope that you will not forget about your promise. As Danzo likes to say, this is an acceptable price for the good of the village of the Leaf, the girl also said with a smile, and, having said goodbye, left. Hiruzen's thoughts. Don't worry, Kushina, they will answer for everything. But for them, the price will be too high. Thinking so, he went to talk to his son. Memory. The end. Okay, Kakashi, Fugaku, Hazashi, you go with Kushina and wait for her allies, and then activate the barrier so that no one escapes, the student of the first and second calmly said, after which he left. We need to wait for a signal from my allies and then act. Kushina, tell me what happened then. There is still time. The third told me then that you caught the attackers and among them were Uchihas who went to root Anbu, although Danzo could not make a claim against them, because then everyone could find out what he did, asked the head of the Uchiha clan. Okay. Then during childbirth I was attacked. Then the story about that night began. To be continued. Chapter 20. Commentary on Chapter 20 Bekino. Chapter 20. Uzumaki clan patrons. Help on the way. Part 6 Blood Feet, Part 2. LXV. The Land of Fire, the Village of the Leaf, the United Territory of the Shimura, Utatane, and Mitokado clans. Danzo was at the meeting before the barrier worked and trapped the rebellions inside. Well, everyone is here, so I announce that today we will remove the cowardly Hokage, and put the most worthy candidate for this post. Please welcome, Danzo-sama, student of the second Hokage, head of Root Anbu, namely the unit that destroys the enemies of our village. For him, as expected, it does not matter, he behaves like a real ninja. In addition, he has no past and future, for him there is only one thing, this mission. We will change the training, and all the weaklings will be sent to experiments, this is what they deserve. But this will be later, and now we need to free the elders of the village, said Shimura's son Danzo. Then, by the decision of the ruling clans, we declare Shimura Danzo the fifth Hokage, said Kaharu's daughter and the heir to the Utatane clan. Okay, thank you for your trust, but I decided that I would go and free them myself, because as a leader I will not hide and will take 3 fighters with me. I will need to get rid of Asuma and Daimyo. It is unlikely that his puppies, whom he calls protectors, can withstand my elite fighters, the self-proclaimed fifth Hokage said without emotion, after which he gave the order to his thugs and disappeared. No one noticed that as soon as their leader disappeared, a barrier closed over the territory of the village. LXXXVIII. The Land of Fire, the Palace of the Feudal Lord. The Dungeon. In a dark cell, barely illuminated by the light pouring from a tiny window under the very ceiling, there were 2 people. They did not understand what they were accused of, or rather, they pretended not to understand. But they still do not consider themselves guilty, they have always done so that their village prospers, which someone does not like at all. They believe that as soon as Danzo finds out that they were thrown into prison, he will show everyone where their place is, and when Minato returns, he will immediately be expended, which in fact should have been done much earlier. Well, and the village of Whirlpool will pay for meddling in matters that do not concern it. But their calm thoughts were interrupted by a very negative release of energy, from which the 2 old men could not even move, and they immediately saw 2 people near their cell. Who are you? Let us out immediately, and maybe we will save your lives. The old man shouted, but in response he received even more anger. Mitokado Homura and Utatane Kaharu, the time has come to pay for your crimes and treason, but before you die, you will learn that all your relatives will also die very painfully today. You and Danzo attacked my mother more than 15 years ago, killed my sister Naruto, and tried to kill my brother Naruto, and me, the 3rd child. And now I, Minako Uzumaki, a student of the progenitor of the Chakra Otsutsuki Kagaya herself, will send your worthless lives straight to hell, where you belong, Minato's daughter said angrily. I see you have a problem with your head, what Kagaya? What progenitor of Chakra? Tell me that you still believe in Rakudo Sanin, then you are truly crazy and think Danzo will allow an attack. Yes, he and his fighters will stop you. Better free us, for now I ask nicely, the old woman threatened. It seems you haven't been told yet that your beloved Danzo has been declared an enemy and is being hunted, so just accept your fate. Rakudo Sanin, real name Hagoromo, is the son of Otsutsuki Kagaya and they are not a myth, they exist, but that's not the point now. Did you really think that you would get away with your betrayal? Ha ha, Mom just thought it all out, she didn't want Dad to suffer, that's why she waited, but after Danzo sold the Hokage's daughter and the heiress of the Hyuga clan, there was no point in waiting. In short, no one will save you, Minako's friend said. If that's the case, then if you kill us here, the feudal lord will definitely find out, and you will be arrested immediately, Kaharu literally spat out with a sly grin. Firstly, why do you think the feudal lord doesn't know? Well, and secondly, no one else sees us except you, Momo said calmly. Do you really think we'll believe you? Do you really think we're idiots? And who are you anyway and where did you get the Byakugan? I've never seen you in the village, otherwise I would have remembered your appearance, which means that either you weren't born in the village, or the Hyuga clan is conspiring against the Leaf with those red-haired bastards who forgot where their place is in. But Kaharu couldn't finish her sentence, her heart suddenly seized up, and she fell down, trying to scream, but nothing worked. It's useless, your scream won't do anything, and the guards will think that you want to lure them into a trap or that you have a problem with your head, the girl said, watching Kaharu suffer. Homura did not listen and started calling the guards, shouting that they were being killed and that the 2 people standing next to them in the cell wanted to destroy their clans. But when he wanted to call her name, he fell to the floor and, unable to say anything, simply looked into the eyes of the smiling girl. The guards simply watched from the side, not even thinking of entering the cell. As the feudal lord himself warned them, these old men are very cunning and can do anything, so the guards, having watched these two for a little while longer, decided to simply leave. Two people who had great influence in the past are slowly dying at the hands of someone who, in their opinion, should not have even been born. The worst thing is that their clans will be destroyed. And they did everything for the village, and in the end they were repaid like this. They do not consider themselves guilty of anything, well, except for the fact that they allowed Hiruzen to appoint Minato as his successor, instead of quietly killing him. Even before her death, Kaharu croaked that neither she nor her brother should have been born, and they regret that they were not able to kill her mother when they first found out that she was expecting a child, but it was Danzo who convinced them to wait. Now they will pay, and all hope is that Danzo will deal with them. But to their regret, Minako heard their hoarse phrase and decided that this was the last straw. She simply walked up to them and lifted them both up with just one wave of her hand. But after that, one of the girls' hands simply penetrated Kaharu's chest, and the other one Homura's, squeezing their hearts, which made them feel terrible pain, and there was horror in their eyes. They looked into her eyes, in which they read only the thirst for revenge and inexorable rage. The last thing they heard was the phrase, "As your beloved Danzo likes to repeat, everything I do will be for the good of my village, and your death will bring peace to the whole world." And then another ghost appeared next to the girl. It was not difficult to guess that it was the Shinigami himself. Minako saw that they did not like the words she said, and, smiling, decided that it was time to send them to hell, but she was in no hurry. After all, the main enemy of her family was coming here, and she wanted to tell him something. When she realized that their life was already gone, the Shinigami smiled and said, "Don't worry, Kagaya won't find out about this," and he disappeared, and she and Momo simply walked away to wait for him. Danzo wouldn't be able to harm her anyway, much less Momo, he wouldn't have enough strength for that. Especially here is Momoshiki, who once defeated Jashin. From the author, I really wanted Momoshiki to be a positive hero, like all the Otsutsuki, well, except for one. The funniest thing is that Danzo thinks that he really is immortal, but unlike the representatives of the Otsutsuki clan, no one can be immortal, except perhaps a long liver. Minako just stood aside and watched as Danzo broke down the door to their cell, walked up to the old men, and realized that they were dead. He was furious. He didn't understand who dared to do this, but then he got an answer. "I see you decided to save your accomplices, but as you can see, their hearts couldn't take it and they went to meet the devil, accompanied by the Shinigami himself. But you don't have to worry, a ticket to hell has been booked for you too, and my brother will hand it to you. I don't want to deprive him of the opportunity for revenge. I see that you are either too brave or very stupid for someone who should have been dead for a long time, most likely the latter. After all, I can get rid of you and your companion right now without any problems, and then your worthless brother. Perhaps I should have gotten rid of him earlier but he was not allowed to finish. Do you really think that everything is so simple? Ha ha, before you is Otsutsuki Momoshiki himself, the owner of the Golden Byakugan. The one who defeated Jashin. After all, you worship him for his imaginary immortality. And I am not so simple. Since you do not understand this, then I will repeat to you that I can kill you without problems, but now there is no time for you. I still need to destroy 3 clans. You can even try to guess, so for now," said the girl and blew him a kiss. But Danzo didn't even listen to her, but simply gave the command to his faithful dogs, fighters, to attack. "Stop, you bastard," shouted the fighter, and using the drawn animals, he ordered them to attack. Meanwhile, the second one used poisonous beetles. The third one wanted to capture the consciousness But when the bugs covered Momoshiki, and Minako's animals were in for a shock, the fighter from the Yamanaka clan was pierced by terrible pain, the bugs simply turned to stone, and the painted snakes could not move. "Now it's our turn to attack," Momoshiki spoke for the first time in a long time and signaled the girl to attack. They began to prepare their attack, but one that would not destroy anything. After all, it was only thanks to the barrier that no one heard the noise. But Danzo didn't sit still either, he attacked. Putting his hand forward with the Rinnegan in his palm, Momo absorbed the attack, and a pill formed from the chakra and he gave it to Minako. Momo saw how his ward grimaced and coughed, saying that she had never tried such vile chakra. In his mind, remembering how she asked her little brother to try his chakra during one of the meetings that their mother didn't know about, that's when she said that his chakra was the most delicious. Now, having promised Momo to shave him, she simply gracefully dodged the attack of the brunette artist, decided to send him away, struck him in a very tender place, which made him cry, and with the phrase, I thought that this mummy relieves its goons not only of emotions, but also of body parts that you are forbidden to use anyway, and with a punch to the jaw, sent him straight into the wall. Danzo looked at what happened too detachedly, as if it wasn't his two subordinates who were knocked out and simply absorbed his powerful attack, with which he killed many. But his third fighter wanted to attack again, but something prevented him and his poisonous beetles attacked his master's right hand. Danzo screamed, but endured, although the pain was almost unbearable, he had to sacrifice his right hand with a bunch of sharingans. While he was cutting his hand, Aburame Torun, and it was him, tried to attack again, but unsuccessfully, he was thrown straight onto his master. The wounded Danzo was furious, he was defeated so easily by two brats. Listen, do you really think I'll believe you that this brat is the one who defeated the greatest Jashin-sama? Ha ha, he looks like a princess at a ball, and the fact that he stopped my attack is just his luck. And as for you, you'll regret not dying that night, and you know, I won't kill you now, but don't rejoice. First, you'll see how everyone dear to you dies, and I'll kill you very slowly and... But he was interrupted by a blow from the masked man with the phrase. Have you forgot your place again and are you moving in where you don't need to? Zetsu, take this piece of shit back to the base, I'll talk to him as soon as I get back, the leader said. Zetsu simply took the mummy's body and disappeared, and the man in the mask disappeared after him. It was a surprise for Minako and Momoshiki, but Momo managed to remember his chakra and realized that he was not just an Uchiha, but judging by the similarity with Madara's chakra, he was his close relative. Minako, let's go, they are waiting for us, and we will throw these ones into the cells, but block their chakra. The feudal lord knows what needs to be done, Momo said, taking the girl by the hand, after he closed the cells with Danzo's accomplices and disappeared. Thoughts of the person watching the monitor screen. Wow, it's finally over, I hope that the destruction won't look scary up close. Asuma, the third Hokage, called out to his son. Yes, master, said the defender. We need to go and clean up the dungeon, destroy all traces of those two. The faces of those two are not on the video, but I still press the full cleanup of the entire video for 24 hours, although their faces are not visible, but it is better to be on the safe side. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Okay, once you figure it out, we can return to the normal palace security regime. Let's say that it was done to catch the assassin sent by Danzo to eliminate his accomplices. And I'll go to bed, there will be such a commotion tomorrow. As they like to say in the Nara clan, it's a pain in the ass, of course, but it still needs to be done. Bye, Asuma-kun, said the daimyo of the Land of Fire, watching Asuma smile, reacting to the prefix, kun, to his name, like in childhood. Asuma was truly pleased. He remembered how, as a child, he had drawn on an important document for the promotion of one fighter to the Ninja Guardians and he had to wait again for 3 days to be officially announced and given the document. LXXXIX. The Land of Fire, the Village of the Leaf, the United Territory of the Shimura, Udatane, and Mitokado clans, Part 2. So we continue, while Lord Danzo is away, we need to destroy those who dared to go against the true Hokage of the Leaf Village. From the author. Sounded like, Ulfric Stormcloak is the true king of Skyrim. I love this game. To be continued. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. Patrons of the Uzumaki clan. Help on the way. Part 7 Blood Feet Part 3. XC. Land of Fire, Leaf Village, United Territory of the Shimura, Udatane, and Mitokado clans Part 2. In the underground hall, 3 clans were planning a takeover. They didn't like that their clans were declared traitors. And the first thing they would do after seizing power in the village would be to destroy the current feudal lord in order to free and reinstate the elders, and Danzo-sama would be declared Hokage. So, we continue. And while Lord Danzo is away, we must destroy those who dared to go against the true Hokage of the Leaf Village. The solution was simple. Send their people to capture the heirs for reinsurance, if suddenly the clans dare to do something stupid, but at the very moment of discussion about what needs to be shown to the clans and that they are not joking, to kill one of the heirs. But this discussion was interrupted by a series of explosions on their territory, and as soon as they wanted to see what happened, the broken door gave them the answer. On the threshold stood she, Uzumaki Kushina, covered in blood. Next to her was another girl, also Uzumaki. On the other side stood a young guy for some reason with a Byakugan, but not Hyuga, and the Byakugan itself was gold, but there were no traces of blood on it. Kushina, you dared to attack the clans that are the leaders of the Leaf Village, and for this your village will pay with blood. We will make sure that your village is destroyed. But Momoshiki did not let Kaharu's daughter finish. Listen, Who decided that such worthless people could make such decisions? And, I almost forgot, you have no one left. I never thought that 3 clans could be destroyed so quickly. It seems that such rabble can only talk and threaten. And those 2 also threatened, Kaharu and Homura, and they died in agony. And this bandaged one, I have never met such weaklings. Momo said calmly. Today is the day of reckoning for the crimes against the Whirlpool village and the Uzumaki clan. Today the most vile clans will disappear. All of you will find out why the Uzumaki clan is called devils, Kushina screamed. Because your relatives deprived me and my little brother of a sister, I destroyed your heirs, they died painfully. I had to grow up in another place. You can't even imagine what it's like when you want to see your relatives, but you can't under any circumstances. So now I, Minako Uzumaki, a student of the progenitor herself, who gave our world chakra, will simply destroy you as a hindrance to the world. Everyone in the room could laugh at first, but they knew much more, and knew that Kagaya was not a myth, but they would not give up, even if this was the end for them, but there was still the 5th Hokage, he would not forgive anyone for killing his comrades. Well, that's what they think. Minako lunged forward and stabbed the kunai right into the skull of Danzo's younger son. Kushina attacked the elder. Just as Danzo killed my sister, we will deprive him of his sons, Kushina and Minako croaked together, while defending themselves from the other's attack. XCI, the land of the whirlpool. The border village. Itachi Shisui, along with a bunch of young genin and a few other children around 10 years old, entered the territory of the whirlpool country. They had to leave early. Without explaining anything, they walked quickly. Itachi was worried that the village would start an Armageddon as soon as they left. None of the genin tried to ask anything anymore. They were very tired, but Neji, carrying Hanabi on his back, dreamed of quickly resting and seeing Lady Hinata. Konohamaru was sleeping on Shisui's back. Shisui's younger sister, Naomi, wanted to take Konohamaru's place herself and throw him into the whirlpool they had seen while crossing the bridge. However, she decided that it was better for no one to know about her insidious thoughts, although some people understood from her sadistic smile that she had thought of something. Itachi, as the main one, said that they will be met in a border village, where they can rest without worrying about anything. Even all the Biju together will not be able to break through Uzumaki's barrier quickly. Uzumaki has a special teacher for this, who helps train and test barriers. XCII, the land of whirlpool, Uchiha Madara and unexpected aid. Uchiha Madara. This name alone brings horror, but everything can be completely different. A person can become a monster if there are reasons for it. So Madara had a reason to become one. And now 3, or rather 4, appeared before the legend. Kakuzu, he remembers him, how he ran away from Hashirama after a long fight and lost 3 hearts, and when he saw him, he ran away immediately. Hidan, everyone thinks that he is immortal, but this is not so. He also remembers him, but he hoped that he was already killed. Oh, in vain he left him unharmed then. Scorpion Sasori, he met him when he was still small. Deidara, the strangest of all. The 4 members of the League of Shadows group could not even imagine who was standing in front of them, and decided to attack. But for some reason the demolition man waited, and Sasori did not attack, but studied the enemy. Either he did not want to get hit by the zombie duo anymore, or he was waiting for something else. The battle was in full swing. Hidan and Kakuzu, not noticing anything, fought with the unknown, but nothing affected it at all, and suddenly bombs were thrown at Hidan and Kakuzu, and all of Sasori's puppets were around them. A couple of zombies absolutely did not understand why their allies attacked them, but the answer is simple. Sasori never trusted strangers and decided to just run away, and Deidara fell into an illusion. Itachi is not the only one who can use his finger to create an illusion, no matter how you look at it, but this is Madara. For Sasori, this was also unexpected, and he decided to leave while there was dust around, and simply sank into the sand like a scorpion, and his ally involuntarily continued to throw bombs, but a funnel opened up, and Deidara disappeared. Very well, now victory is yours, but don't hope that you'll be so lucky next time. The great Madara rushed to Naruto's aid, as he realized who it was. He remembered her again, the one who ignited not just a fire in his heart, but the strongest flame, the flame of love. To be continued. Chapter 22. XE. The land of whirlpool. Madara's memories. After I woke up, the Uzumaki still wanted to talk. There she was, the one who conquered me, my heart. I had never experienced anything like this before. What's funnier, I even forgot my name. The main thing is that they don't think I'm a complete idiot. And so she came to visit me, and I learned her name, the name of my angel. I wonder if I told her that I had already thought of a name not only for our 10 children, but also for our great-grandchildren. Would they immediately drown me or start preparing for the wedding? Although I like the second option better. And what's wrong with me thinking about the future? For example, the first great-grandson will be called Naruto, and that suits me. The main thing is that this hurricane destroys as little as possible. Hee hee. Oh, if only Madara knew that much of what he thought and dreamed about would come true. But his fantasy, which could have gone in the wrong direction, for which even the sweetest angel could have hit him hard, was interrupted by the snapping of his brother's fingers, who was barely holding back from laughing. So I can finally introduce myself to my savior. My name is Mito, I am a Hime of the Uzumaki clan. The girl introduced herself modestly, afraid to look at her savior, and, apologizing, ran off somewhere. I hope that my parents won't catch on that I said it too modestly, and that I blushed from embarrassment. Uzumaki Ashina had just come to power. Yes, that's the second Uzukage, he's a long liver. He was laughing then, as was my brother, and they held on until I told them not to hold back, after which everyone burst out laughing, but it didn't make me angry. And, I must admit, if I had to say my name again, I simply wouldn't be able to. For some reason I forget about everything next to her. How I wanted to see her again. They didn't want to let me leave the hospital for another week, but I was glad that she came to me constantly, and when we were alone, we chatted about everything. But if someone came, then Mitochika would immediately run away, which made her relatives laugh a lot. After I left the hospital, we spent a lot of time together, no one bothered us, we were happy together. I sent my brother to the clan to tell them that I had not fully recovered and would stay with Uzumaki. They replied in the letter that they were not against it. And when the Shimura clan came with their allied clans Mitokado and Udatain, I said that the Uchihas were Uzumaki's allies, although they themselves could have handled it without any problems. They let the heir go earlier, simply saying that they did not want to dirty their hands with such lousy blood, and then he decided to come with his clan, threatening, but they ran away quickly. As time passed, Mito and I became very close, walking together, watching the sunset over the ocean, watching the meteor shower, we did everything together. Her relatives simply made fun of us, because we are more reserved separately, but when we see each other, we become completely different. Looking into my Mito's eyes, I couldn't say even a couple of phrases for a long time, the gift of speech simply disappeared, and so I came up with another way to express what I felt for her. After some time, we were even given a separate house, which we called our nest. However, a problem with the Senju arose, and I had to leave my other half. At that time, no one said a word, because everyone understood that I had to protect my clan. I didn't know then that I had left not only Mito. If I had known, I would never have abandoned two girls dear to me. That fight with Senju was fateful, I lost my brother, and that was the first blow at that time. I didn't know what to do. I started going blind, and I had to implant my brother's eyes. The second blow was that even with the full power of my eyes, I lost to Hashirama again. I had to agree to an alliance with Senju, but I didn't even imagine what awaited me. Time passed, our leaf village flourished. I corresponded with my Mito and waited for a meeting. After all, 5 years had passed, and the last time I saw her was when we were 16. What was worse was that the Shimura Mitokade Udatain clan had joined the village. This was the main problem. They were the ones who came up with the idea of Hashirama marrying Uzumaki Mito, thus taking revenge on me. My friend liked it and started negotiations. The Uzumaki themselves understood that Mito would not love anyone else. When we met, we managed to be alone. She always loved me as much as I loved her. That was when I learned about my daughter, which made me happy. But this marriage, or rather an agreement, was concluded by representatives of the Shimura clan. He was happy that he had taken revenge, but I could also laugh, but with the condition that Mito would give birth to an heir for him, after which she could go home and live with the one she loved. Strangely, Hashirama agreed, and that idiot from the Shimura clan was furious, not even hiding it. I have a chance for happiness with Mito, although I have to make sacrifices. Time passed. Hashirama got his son, and Mito got his freedom. I also left the Leaf Village and went to the Uzumaki. We lived with Mito and our daughter for a long time, but the Shimura clan could not calm down. They found out that the girl they saw then was not Mito's sister, but the daughter of Madara and Madara. Hashirama also found out, but did not want to do anything at all. As he said, "Then if I knew that she was your girlfriend, I would never dare to even think about her." I really felt better, I was with my beloved. However, I couldn't have any more children because of the Mitokado clan. They did something so that Mito couldn't give birth anymore. They didn't know then that we already had a child. My dream of 10 children was ruined. I told her everything, about my dream, and she didn't seem to mind. Time passed, and some senju did not accept the fact that Mito remained with me, and attacked my daughter. She was weakened after childbirth. I was furious and demanded that the culprits be punished, but I was refused. That's when our fight took place, and I lost. Or rather, pretended to lose. Thanks to Kurama for playing along, as if I had subdued him. The fox was decided to be sealed in Mito. However, the head of the Shimura clan was against it and offered his son Danzo as a vessel for the fox, but he was refused. Then the young Sarutobi Hiruzen and his unfaithful friends came to power. I saw Hiruzen's student trying to get rid of my friend's grandson, and I saved him at the last second, and then took him to Mito. Mito and I raised our granddaughter Kushina and her grandson Naboki. I took him in. The senju changed, they became the Shimura clan's lackeys. I myself don't understand how I killed the senju little by little. Naoki saw everything. He understood that if grandfather had lived, the senju would never have obeyed any clan. And, perhaps, this became my curse. Mito was dying of an unknown disease. Ashina was furious, and together we reduced the number of members of the Shimura Mitokado and Udatain clans. No one could blame me because I was considered dead. After Mito's death, Kurama was sealed in Kushina, and then I was told the secret that the village's underground temple was inhabited by Otsutsuki Hagoromo, known as the Sage of the Six Paths. Time passed, and I did not age, and as Hagoromo told me, this is a curse, summoning a Shinigami for me, who explained everything. I killed many innocents, but I can only atone for my guilt by protecting my great-grandson, but then he did not say his name. Time passed, and I, in the company of Rakudo Sanin, awaited the birth of the child from the prophecy. When my precious granddaughter came back to the village in a rage and said that she agreed to lead the village after looking at me. I saw the Sharingan, and she rarely used it. I then found out everything and wanted to tell Minato that you can't abandon pregnant girls, but I couldn't, because I have no right to lecture, since I myself abandoned pregnant Mito and went to war. However, this does not change anything. If Minato loves her, he will come to her. I have not seen Mito for 4 years. And how long will Minato have the patience to live without his beloved? Almost 17 years passed, and he appeared, my grandson, whose name I came up with when I was 16. He is not very happy about it, or he hides it very skillfully, just like the Uchihas. Here on his birthday, or rather, on the birthday of the triplets, which Kurama confessed about only a few hours before the birth, because this scoundrel talked about too. So he said he wanted to make a surprise. I am not omnipotent and could not save my great-granddaughter, and the second was forced to be taken by Kagaya Otsutsuki so that the child would survive. Then little Naruto's eyes were damaged. It was done by the same representative of the Shimura clan. I then found a way out. And a successful one. My own eyes went to my great-grandson. And the main thing is that his eyes remained blue. And so much time passed, and Minato came to the whirlpool. As I understood, he could not come earlier. He had to marry the daughter of Sarutobi Hiruzen, and what is most annoying is that this marriage was arranged by the clans of Shimura Mitokado and Udatain. They needed a fox, and what would happen to Kushina did not bother them. What an irony. Naruto was afraid of any possible meeting with his brother and sister, but it seems that fate itself wanted them to meet. Naruto, as always, was ready to help everyone, and when he found out that his sister and Hinata were kidnapped, he immediately went to save them, and at the same time take Yugito. It's good that now no one will look for her in the whirlpool. Still, Kushina loved Minato, and gave in quickly. I'm even glad that the village was cheerful in the morning because of what Naruto had arranged. As Ashina-sama said, it's a pity that I didn't think of doing this and punishing her a little for her long absence. But, on the other hand, I was forced to leave her because of the war, but Mito knew that I would return. I'm sure that everything will be fine now, and Naruto will forgive Minato. But first he will test his father, what he is ready to do to be with Kushina again, and for him to accept him. I can even guess what he will offer. I went to help Naruto, and I swear on my hair that Minato will go too. On the way I met some enemies, and I had to use the Rinnegan to make them think that I was an Uzumaki, but the funny thing is that I was able to take one of the enemies into an illusion, and one escaped. The rest can cause some problems if the fight drags on. I was helped by the one I took control of, he attacked his own, then during the fight some portal opened and took this demolition man and those two and showed himself in person. And now I saw him, my brother. Or rather, I thought so at first, but after activating the Rinnegan, he awakened it after Mito's death, although in reality he awakened it when he learned of his daughter's death. I saw that it was some kind of shadow that had taken on my brother's appearance. I'm sure it wasn't him. And judging by his strength, he's damn dangerous. To be continued. Commentary on Chapter 22. I just really wanted Madara to be a positive character. I feel really sorry for him, he really wanted peace, but he chose the wrong way, and he was deceived, simply using Zetsu. So I decided that here he would be a positive character. Chapter 23. Chapter 23. The Leaf Genins rest in the Whirlpool Village. Modest Hugo or modest girls don't like dirty jokes. The land of Whirlpool. The village. Meanwhile, when the village leader was fighting, the village itself decided not to raise the maximum alarm level, because thanks to the barriers the village is safe, but they need to be prepared. Therefore, it was decided to wait for the return of the Uzukage, as well as Kushina-sama. But we must not forget about the guests. So that they would not worry, Karen decided to distract them and sent everyone to the cafe and warned that they would be a little late, but Hinata and Yumi decided to go with her. In the cafe. I don't know about anyone else, but I was interested to know how the training goes in this village, and especially for the Uzumaki themselves. Who knows, maybe it's an easy exam, and anyone can pass it, Kiba said with a smile, to which Neji decided to satisfy his curiosity. If you want, here is a list of the easiest things that Uzumaki should do, although these are more clan abilities. But who are we to interfere with the laws of this village? If it comes down to it, then if the Hyuga clan had its own village, then, of course, there would be a privilege in any case, but those without a clan are still allowed to go by the strict rules. No matter how you look at it, the protection primarily lies with the Uzumaki clan, Neji said calmly and with a smile. Kiba snatched the paper and began to read it out loud, but the further he read, the closer the lump came to his throat. 1. Shadow clones are elemental. 2. Unlock at least 2/3 of the 6 dojutsu abilities. 3. Master at least 2 elements, 3 elements for those who will go into battle, elemental level A or B. 4. Fuinjutsu barriers of at least level B or A for those who will be in the barrier squad on the battlefield. Also combat Fuinjutsu for those who will fight. 5. Knowledge of medicine. 6. Kinjutsu, if you want to be a swordsman, throwing kunai and shuriken. To immediately obtain a special chunin, jonin. 1. Shadow clones are elemental. 2. Open the required 3 dojutsu abilities out of 6. Only Naruto and Nagato were able to open all 6, others will not be able to without consequences. 3. Master 3 elements for those who will go into battle, elemental level A and S. 4. Fuinjutsu barriers of at least level S for those who will be in the barrier squad protecting citizens and the village. 5. Undergo special training for the barrier test, first of all for those who want to be in the barrier squad, who exactly conducts the test is known before the test. But he does not give any concessions. 6. Girls should open the Byakugan seal so that they can not only heal, but also fight plus knowledge of combat medicine. In Uzumaki, guys cannot fight if they are medics, even if they know combat medicine, they do not have the Byakugan seal. 7. Kinjutsu if you want to be a swordsman, throwing kunai and shuriken. Kiba didn't understand how it was possible to learn all this, although he knew that in this village children learn almost as soon as they start walking. So, now let's see how they learn. Kiba continued reading. Shadow clones are elemental ones, replacement, transformation, throwing, knowledge of the element, if it is of level C, basic Fuin, Kinjutsu, if you want. Knowledge of medicine, if you want, you can become a medic in the team. To become a chunin, improve your skills and gain experience. Well, it's easier here, although this is for becoming a genin, and for a chunin, it's understandable. Oh, yeah, by the way, Cairo, what did you find out about Naruto-san? Even though Kiba is self-confident, he should still respect the head of the village, even if they are almost the same age. Yes, I'm also interested in how he was able to subdue the Biju, even though he's strong, but I doubt that he could do it so easily. Sakura said this in such a way that silence fell in the cafe. It became quiet because the genin of the leaf did not know how the scarlet-haired would perceive such a statement addressed to their leader. But what was funny was that no one even thought of saying a word. However, one genin decided to relieve the tension a little and decided to amuse a little, but forgot that he would get it for such a joke anyway. In order to appease the nine-tailed fox, you need to perform one ritual 4 times a year, on the day of the spring and autumn equinox, on the day of the winter and summer solstice, Naruto's younger brother said insidiously, not even realizing that there was a terrible danger behind him. Oh, come on, what kind of ritual is this? Asked the pink-haired girl, who was genuinely curious. Don't worry, Sakura, you won't fit both parameters. What kind? The girl is very curious after all. We need 12 virgins with big breasts to dance naked around the fire, asking the Biju to protect the village and its inhabitants, although I think that the fox doesn't like it as much as Naruto-san. Well, I think that only Hinata-chan would be the most suitable. She's 110% suitable, although I think that a private dance would be suitable for her, even if the other girls are just as beautiful, but a little short in parameters, Kiera said with a smile, not even paying attention to the fact that everyone was just standing there and didn't even want to say anything. And what's funny is that Sakura's smile is somehow insidious, just like Ino's, although she understands that he's just teasing her. But then his sixth sense told him, alas, belatedly, about the danger behind him. He realized this when a gentle hand of a beautiful Hime fell on his shoulder, but for some reason he wanted to run away from her aura. My sister stood next to her with a sadistic smile and a gesture to my throat, hinting that I was finished, and Karen, who was simply watching and seemed not to understand why sweat was pouring off me like a stream. She didn't see how the most modest girl of the Leaf Village could instantly turn into a devil who was ready to destroy everything she saw. Kiera's thoughts. It looks like I'm screwed. Oh, and I really wanted to go to my friends' weddings, but it looks like I'll miss them, and I wonder if a person can stay in intensive care for 30 years, and that's if they're lucky. He was brought out of his thoughts by the fact that he flew from a blow from a modest girl, and it's amazing that he remained unharmed, and this is not counting the broken wall, which the cafe owner took surprisingly calmly, and to my unasked question said that, there have been worse, and here there's only one wall with one hole. After the blow and sending Kiera flying, Karen looked at her in shock, and then with some kind of sly smile. The rest, who did not know Hinata, just smiled, and Hinata in a second turned from a scary monster into the most modest girl, who looked at everyone with such an innocent look that no one would believe that she could be scared. But what Hinata said can knock you down with just one phrase. Oh, sorry, I think I went a little overboard and couldn't hold back. I hope no one else got hurt. Having said this, the young Hyuga pretended to be innocent, looking at everyone modestly. No, you don't have to worry, I wanted to hit him myself for such a joke, sometimes it's useful, Karen said with a laugh. You see, little brother, what communication with this pervert has led you to. It seems that Tsunade-san didn't beat him enough, and it turns out that I didn't beat you enough for your perverted jokes either, Yumi said, helping her brother to get up. Okay, people, let's just sit and chat, although I understand that it's hard to sit when there is a possible danger and you want to fight. But believe me, everything will be fine, Naruto-kun. That is, Naruto-sama is not as simple as he seems, and one of his teachers went to help him, but I can't say his name yet, you'll find out later. Karen tried to speak confidently, but some noticed the worry in her voice, but did not say anything. To be continued. Chapter 24. The Land of Whirlpool, Uzumaki Camp. Naruto was furious. Not only did the enemy decide to make their move, but they also decided to eliminate the main threat to themselves. But it was good that the reinforcements managed to delay some of the enemies. 2 enemies were destroyed, one would not be in a condition to fight due to the lack of ability to use chakra. Even though I could have killed him, I still wanted to see his attempts to recover. Although he has the Shinigami seal on him, and he can be killed at any time. I see that the situation has become tense. Orich has taken his form of a white snake, and he looks too self-confident. It seems that he considers himself immortal. Next to him is a man, well, or rather, something that has taken the form of a man. With my eyes I saw his essence, and judging by the expression on his face, he knows another of my teachers, or rather, the form of a man that he has taken. Well, and it seems to me that I saw him in some photo. I decided to attack this snake to mark it, and I succeeded. I wounded the snake and switched with a clone for the second attack to finish off this creature. I wanted to intercept it, but I got hit by it myself, and this shocked him, and everyone saw that instead of red blood, black was flowing out of him. Having bought time for the others, who carried away the wounded father and the tired Nawaki, Nagato, Yagura, Zabuza and Haku. Only Madara himself remained with me. He had moved Orich somewhere, but was in no hurry to leave. He understood that he was in the minority, considering the cover group, but he decided to mock and try to threaten, saying, immediately give me the Shinigami sword, and then I will spare your village and persuade the new god not to touch. But, of course, I refused. This shadow simply smiled, and, frankly, I felt uneasy from his smile, and when he turned around, Madara's voice stopped him. How dare you take the form of my brother and pretend to be him? My brother is the purest man in the world and he did not wish harm to anyone. Even after the battles against the Senju he simply cried, realizing that he took the lives of innocents. It was very hard for him, and I am simply sure that even all the gods understand this. And for the fact that you dared to take his form, you will pay, maybe not now, but you will not escape punishment. To which he made a gesture that the challenge was accepted and ran away. Now we need to catch up with the others and return to the village. I can't let Minato die just like that. First I have to set my condition for him, according to which he will be able to calmly be with my mother if he agrees. Once we get to the village and I'll tell him everything in the hospital, but there is a 99.9% chance that I could end up in the next bed in the hospital if my mother doesn't understand the reason why I set him the conditions. Madara approached Naruto, but he did not know what to say about these events, but decided to distract his descendant and figured out how to do it. You know, you don't have to marry Hinata yet, you can do the same as Mito and Harirama did, surrogate motherhood. If a child is born, then this will be a guarantee of Hyuga's safety. Let the girl herself be with the one she loves. Although from what I heard, the probability that she fell in love with you is 200%. And believe me, love at first sight does exist. Look at me, I fell in love with Mito so much that I even forgot my name, and it amused everyone around me. Of course, except for me, I was too proud. But now I understand that it really was funny. I am grateful to the Uzumaki clan for setting my brain straight about my pride, because with such power they were capable of a lot, but they did not touch anyone if they were not touched. Therefore, I will give you some advice. If you yourself do not mind being with someone other than Karen, then this Hyuga will suit you best. I understand that it's too early for you to talk about your feelings for her if you haven't really communicated, although you had the opportunity. But you decided to play shogi with Kurama, Hagoromo and Shinigami, simply because you were afraid of communicating with your sister. If you tell someone who you played shogi with, they will think that you have a problem with your head, one of the founders once said with a fake smile, considering the situation. Madara-sensei, Naruto-kun-sama, you don't have to worry, I was able to remove the poison's effect, and Minato-san's life is not in danger. But still, considering the situation, he needs to stay in the hospital for a couple of days, Hashirama's grandson said calmly. This is simply wonderful, I am grateful to you, Naoki-sensei, for saving me from. That is, for saving the Hokage of the allied village, and if you heard me call the Hokage by some other name, then I will say right away, it just seemed that way to you, he said with a smile. Try telling anyone that I called Minato father. It would be really funny if an elite Jonin was looking after children in a kindergarten. It might not be that bad, but Naruto knows that Naoki-sensei is afraid of children, while Nagato-sensei only dreams of babysitting the little ones, and Madara-sensei might not be against communicating with the future generation. Nagato, Madara and Naoki simply nodded at Naruto's words. Zabuza and Haku were sleeping and didn't need anything. Yagura was next to Minato, wounded, but still a Hokage. So he decided to talk to Yagura, but their conversation quickly became just a friendly chat. The land of Whirlpool, the village. I wonder why no one is meeting us. After all, I was here a long time ago, but I see that little has changed. Although I feel that we are being watched, said a blonde who at first glance looked about 25 years old, although she was older. I heard that there is a great beach here, and that girls sunbathe there without bathing suits. And I need some inspiration, said the blonde's friend with a dirty smile, who wanted to punch him. First you need to go to see the head, and then everything else, said the brunette with a piglet in her arms. By the way, Jiraiya, I don't recommend spying on girls, after all, Uzumaki girls hit first and think later. Remember what one Kushina did, and now imagine what many girls like Kushina will do, Hashirama's granddaughter said in a sly tone, watching her friend freeze in place, sweat pouring down his face. Well, if that's the case, then let's go figure out this earthquake and find out what happened, Jiraiya said in a serious tone and walked forward to the residence. The Uzumaki who accompanied them, without saying anything, simply decided to show them around. No matter how you look at it, Tsunade has every right to come here and bring guests with her. But suddenly they were distracted by a voice. Have you decided to visit your grandmother's village, Lady Tsunade? Know that I am glad to see you and your companions. And even if I say, welcome home, you won't be staying for long anyway, Kushina said calmly and smiled. Turning their heads, the trio with the piglet saw Kushina, who looked beautiful as always, and a girl and a guy in hoods that hid their faces. But the Sanins immediately realized that this couple was not simple, but there was no reason to worry, since they were near Kushina. And on the capes there was the emblem of the maelstrom, which meant that they were Kushina's guards. To be continued. Chapter 25. Commentary on Chapter 25. I decided to present Jashin as the apocalypse, well, and his 4 horsemen, and the 5th so to speak horseman or rather Zero, as Jashin's right hand, will be one villain. I made him here as a shaman scientist, he is little known according to legend, that. And what happened to him? Those who saw the movie Masters of the Universe will understand. And it will also be clear who exactly was the keeper of the library. Grayskull Castle. Kagaya waited for Indra to return, and when he appeared a little battered, it became clear that he had decided to complete the surveillance missions. But unfortunately Hamura and his team said that their mission had failed because Jashin's sarcophagus had disappeared, and that was not the worst thing that had happened. Obito decided to check the crypts of his 4 followers, or as the legend goes, the 4 horsemen. Here is the data about them. 1 rider on a white horse, plague conqueror, spread the plague, which is what caused the war. 2 rider on a red horse, war, discord, appeared when people were sick, which caused conflicts and the era of wars began. 3 rider on a black horse, hunger, with the advent of plague and war, he appeared that hunger is not with you. 4 the rider on the pale horse, death, he appeared second to last, bringing with him only one thing, death, and there is no escape from it. Well, and after him appeared the one whom they serve, some know him as Jashin, but according to ancient legend he was called Apocalypse. But we found something else strange, there was someone else, on the stone tablet it is written that he was a shaman who made the plague virus. And no one knows what else he created, since there is no more information about him, or you need to look in that library, but as far as I know, only Shinigami and his chosen representatives can enter it. But it's just not that easy to get in there, Hamura said, thinking that he needed to convince the Shinigami to let everyone in. Hamura, don't worry about it, I'll arrange everything, and I'll tell you a secret. One entrance to the Shinigami library is in the Whirlpool village, more precisely in their secret library that is in the dungeon. There is an entrance, that's why Hagoromo constantly hangs out there with Madara, though Madara himself is afraid to go there, and is in the hall of the underground castle. It's not for nothing that my husband chose them as the protectors of ancient knowledge. Maybe you didn't know, but before the Shinigami gained control over the knowledge, there was another guardian, but he wanted more and the Shinigami himself stopped him. And the guardian himself disappeared. So now it's important to find information. And you, grandson, march to the medical center, Rin-chan will help you. And Obito, I declare my gratitude that you quickly checked everything, go rest and as soon as Rin finishes, you can spend time together. If you have any questions, ask them, but if not, go and rest, and I will organize access to the library. Everyone in the room, no questions. Shadow League Refuge. Everything was flying around the cave, no one had ever brought him to this point, he had never been so angry. Thoughts of the faceless one in the form of Izuna. He was simply tricked, again, and the culprit is a pathetic mortal who causes nothing but trouble. Damn Sasori, I gave him everything, and he betrayed him, but he is not the only one. Here is Danzo, if not for his thirst for power, I would not have to save him. But what this brat did to Orochimaru amuses me, to go and seal all the abilities instead of just killing. Maybe he wanted the snake to tell everyone that he is not immortal and then they will go against him. Although they are still just pawns, but Indra's betrayal cannot help but upset. So, calm down, I will still do what I planned. Of course, I feel sorry for Kinkaku and Ginkaku, but they failed the test of combat. Now we need to get rid of one half mummy, and for this it is worth organizing an attack on the allies of the Uzumaki, and it will be carried out by Danzo, but this time he will not be saved. I think that the young leader himself will go to stop him, but I hope that Danzo will be able to at least a little weaken it so I can take the sword. The main thing is that Danzo doesn't do anything stupid during the fight. To be continued.